Hello and welcome, you sleek sensations. I'm Dallin Stanford, former US Sevens Eagle and current World Rugby commentator. After a strange year across the globe, let alone with rugby, we've decided to get back together and have a cracking Christmas live show with a selection of available guests from this year's shows to chat briefly about how the year has been and what they're looking forward to in 2021. Plus, we'll raise a glass or three. I'm on my breakfast wine because it's morning time here in America. We'll have plenty of your favorite ThreeBOD live hosts chatting with eclectic cross-section of guests. We'll have live music from our Do Island's premier a cappella band. And we'll also hear from Mark Tween of Mark Tween Music, who's written a COVID Christmas song during his isolation. There'll be snippets of the biography of Christmas from UK comedian and author Paul Carenza, plus a visit from Father Nick Claus and much, much more. So grab a beverage, engage with us on the socials, and enjoy. Kicking us off is our founder and chief bloke of the ThreeBOD Rugby group, Joe Shepherd. You will not find a harder working man than this guy. He embodies what we all love about rugby. It's ethos, spreading good cheer and love in the community around the globe. He is also the only person I know who can out-talk me. So hello and welcome to your own show, my friend.
Hey, how you doing? EQUIV. Very Merry Christmas here from a very wet and windy island. I hope you enjoy the festive. Just see the Gibraltar Rugby shirt there in the corner from our good friends at Gibraltar Rugby there. But we thought we'd go a little bit festive for this time of year. So there we are, all good. So I just wanted to come on and say a quick hello and thank you. And thank you for anchoring opening up the show as ever, mate.
Well, listen, I just want to say we know 2020 has been, pretty bad. It's gone down like a Nicolas Cage movie for most of us. My friend.
Yeah, look, things have been really, really good. I think the decision we made in March time to expand the series of shows was the right thing to do, because there was no rugby on, but there's always loads of things to talk about within rugby, both mainstream and non-mainstream. Huge, I'd like to just say a huge thank you to all of the hosts like yourself and all the spin-off shows. Most of the work's been done by the people who are hosting those, and there's good reasons for that, putting local hosts in for local shows, and that's been really, really good. So it's carried a lot of people through, I think. It's taken off an awful lot. I mean, we've been doing this for 3.5 years. It's become very fashionable to do sort of live podcasts and shows, and long may it continue. It will continue. But I have to say a huge thank you down to not only my hosts and leads in the different countries globally. It is difficult running a global project across different time zones with people that you've never met. So it's a huge thank you to those people like yourself and all the other hosts and guests who give their time to come on and to share a little bit of sort of love and of our great rugby family for that. And also to the admins and the moderators of all the forums. We sit in about 100 groups and we get away with murder. But it's really, really kind of the people in niche forums who allow us to share the shows, and we hope they're engaging and informative, and we had a little bit of crack to them. So I'd like to thank everybody for that, my friend, because without those, and the last people to really thank are the viewership. I mean, I've got a whole pile of things open here, but I see that there's comments galore Darren's great jumper, UK jersey for Joe. People like Gregor Galway has been an absolute blinder. Rabs Hare, who's going to be on later from Southern Hemisphere. Eleni, who's going to come on with the Greek team as well. So all of these people are what makes it worthwhile, because without them, we don't have anything.
Yeah, Joe, your show has expanded much like most people's waistlines, over this COVID time, but in a good way, of course. I'm not talking about your personal weight. You're looking strong as always. But you also really have done a great job, I will say, of promoting the local businesses and partners that you're associated with.
Yeah, we made the decision earlier on that there was lots of local companies that we'd met through, and individuals and artisan businesses that we'd met through doing the shows. And so we just started doing some sort of almost reverse promotion. We were looking for, we were looking for sort of partners and sponsors for the show, and we thought, during this time we'll give them, shout outs. So everybody from Kinako Biltong up in Ulster to coffeedog.ie, our coffee provider, Johnny pulling there, and a whole host of others as well. And that's been really good to do. And from that, we've now done some spin-off shows for those as well. But local then global where possible is something that we want to try and continue in 21, and we also think that it's great to see that in the grassroots. Myself and Kigo done a number of shows, as I and you have, with the grassroots and community rugby and putting a focus onto that. And it's those sort of non-mainstream things that will help people through what is going to be another difficult year, no doubt about it, in 2021.
Yeah, and then looking ahead, of course, we mentioned, a lot of people are obviously struggling and things like that. We have COVID on the go also, so I know you have something you want to share with that in our community also.
I do. I'm just going to share my share my screen, actually. Let me just pull this up, Ohana. I was sent this last week, so I can put this on full. Go to ohana.ie. There's a lovely lady called Sue Carty who's a former player, coach, referee. She is a psychiatric nurse, in fact, but she was the president of the Irish Rugby Football Union women's branch and brought them into line, connecting them with the men. So the IRFU is one branch, but she's now amongst everything else she does, she is also now the IRFU's rep on the World Rugby Council. Just brilliant. And during COVID, she stopped a lot of what she was doing to go back to frontline as a psychiatric nurse. And she has just started a phenomenal project called Ohana ZERO Suicide. You can go onto here and you can click to start the training. It is a quick 20-minute course that will help you and will help other people. And at this time of year, when Christmas is always very, very difficult for people, Alan, we know that, and especially with COVID. So please go to ohana.ie and we'll just stick we've got the banner there. Ohana.ie. It's 20 minutes, and that's all it's going to take for you to make a difference to people's lives.
Thank you for sharing that. That's vitally important. At any point, as I said, also during this Christmas time when everybody's separated. We're going to see your smiling face all over the show a bit later, of course. But before you go, I want you to, because you're Mr. Christmas, you're the best background we've ever seen on a call. Could you introduce part one of the history of Christmas? Yeah,
this guy is. There's a book called. There we go. It's on audible.co.uk, but it's also on the Hark. It's called Hark, the Biography of Christmas, by a guy called Paul Carenza, who's a UK comedian. And for the people in the UK, they will know the comedy show Miranda and Not Going Out and other stuff like that. And he wrote for all of those. And he wrote the biography. He is Mr. Christmas. And so I asked him to do a couple of videos just to bring a little bit of flavour of Christmas and really what it means from the start all the way through. And so we put a couple of videos together, and he's 6 clips. So go to Paul Carenza. And in fact, I need to stick his banner up as well. He's just also gone, if you go to Eventbrite and look or Google Paul Carenza 3 Wise Men, a Christmas play, it's on YouTube. It's a £5. The money goes to them because they're all struggling to keep going at this time of, when there's no live going on. But the 3 Wise Men isn't it's based loosely on the book Hark. But the 3 Wise Men are Charles Dickens, a guy called... I've forgotten his name, an American who really was the father of modern day Christmas, and Prince Albert of Germany. They're the 3 wise men. So go to Paul Carenza, 3 wise men. But here he is with part one of a biography of Christmas. I'll be back later. Dallin, you're a legend. See you soon.
Hello, Joe and co. It's Paul Carenza here. How are you? I'm a comedian, a writer, and I'm a Christmas nut. So much so, I wrote the book on Christmas. It's called Hark, the Biography of Christmas. This is a promotional board, as you can see, but it's a magic one because it turns out if you blow it, then it becomes the book itself. That's not really a magic. I'm not a magician. I'm just kind of a rubbish dad at Christmas doing, basically it's one step off this. If that baffles you, then... I don't know what to tell you. Well, I'll tell you what I do know what to tell you, which is something about the history of Christmas. That's what the book is all about. And I'm delving into the 12 dates of Christmas as I see it, when Christmas became a bit more like the current Christmas. Now, of course, it's a fairly well-known thing, I suppose, that, the Christian Christmas, is round about 0 AD, not that there was a 0 AD, and indeed it wasn't referred to as BC or AD at the time, because no one was kind of building up to this idea of, when this baby's born, then we'll change the whole dating system. Didn't quite work like that. But hundreds, even thousands of years BC, there was a different form of midwinter celebration. And you've got really the Norse Yule to look at for that. OK, so I want to tell you a couple of minutes about the Norse Yule, Roman Saturnalia, and basically the kind of pre-Christian Christmas alternatives. But most particular, I don't want this to be a boring historical thing, but what actually we get from that. How we are the descendants of that today in our current Christmas. Because it is weird, isn't it? How we have this big Christmas party. that the world joins in with, and yet it doesn't really relate back to, I don't know, a baby born in the Middle East 2,000 years ago. But what it does relate to often is you look at the Norse Yule thing, and it's food sharing, it's midwinter, it's the coldest time of the year. In fact, it's just after the shortest day, isn't it, Christmas? And, you know, that kind of links in with this idea that, yeah, midwinter, the winter solstice, time of food sharing, time of saying, look, the worst is over. And, you know, we all know that this year we need a bit of that, don't we? The worst is over, and that actually, let's share a bit of food, let's have a big party, and actually, yeah, just be together as a community. Now, obviously, things that we can't really do this year are gathering together and sharing food. But if you look back at things like the wassail bowl, you know, in the Middle Ages, you still get that a little bit today, sharing that. It's really the similar stuff to the big, the fruit punch you get at a Christmas party. That's the modern descendant of that. So eating, drinking, being merry, that's your stuff you get at Norse Yule. Drinking toasts, burning things, the Yule log, of course. It wasn't a chocolate log back then. That really just came in the late 1800s with smaller city dwellings, mainly in France. And then, of course, they'd have thought, well, we can't fit a Yule log anymore in our fireplaces because their fireplaces kind of shrank. Let's put it on the kitchen table. Let's have a chocolate log instead. But originally, the Yule log was a log. And the idea was it burned constantly throughout winter. One log burning the entire time to show some defiance of nature. The Romans then, when that comes in, the Roman Empire, they kind of adopt these midwinter festivals. Big popular one called Saturnalia, lots of drinking, lots of boozing, and a big old party, really. There's a master of ceremonies, the Lord of Misrule, who would be the one in charge of all these festivities and lots of games and that sort of thing, and lots of gifts as well. And hey, this makes a perfect gift. It's an awkward crowbar, isn't it? More videos soon, but that really is where you get your Yule, your Roman Saturnalia, building up to...
Well, there it is. The Christmas miracle continues, and this time it gives me great pleasure to welcome Rugby World Cup 29 winner from South Africa, Stephen Kitsoff, known as the Spicy Plum on the field with that angry hair color. And there he is. Thanks for joining us, Mike Wackerberger.
Thanks, Devin. I appreciate being on the show.
How are things going that side? I know you're at preparation week so far. Tell us how you're keeping, my friend.
Yeah, it's quite a weird thing playing rugby in the middle of summer in South Africa, so something to get used to, but just really excited to be back on the field after the whole COVID pandemic situation, and it's just great being on the field and being able to play rugby.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a highlight that you get to do. A lot of us, we can't even go outside and play touch rugby with our friends, but you keep inspiring us. Another inspiring thing I want to touch on quickly is the spiciest stocking stuffer we've ever seen that the elves have brought to our houses. The Bomb Squad sauce called Spicy Plum with your burning face on it, your logo. How did that come about? Tell us the story.
It's literally a guy over Instagram or Twitter. He sent me a message and said, "Listen, I made this." The Bomb Squad was such an inspirational thing at the World Cup, so he made the sauce, put the photo on it, and sent a couple of bottles to me. I mean, I had absolutely nothing to do with it, and I mean, the sauce tastes great, so I'm a big fan.
Well, also you're a big walking logo, which is so great. I mean, that thing was going to be selling out soon. Let's touch on the Rugby World Cup, though. Of course, it's it's obviously an extremely challenging tournament and event. That's why it's so difficult to win it. What do you credit, looking back now? What do you credit the success of your Springbok campaign?
Yeah, I think the couple of years building up to the World Cup. I think 2018, 2019. There was a lot of talk about the World Cup and a lot of preparation that went into actually playing, like visualizing the games and seeing, okay, we're playing the All Blacks first, we're playing the tournament as it goes, and we won in the semi-finals, we won in the finals, and the planning that went into it and the certain game plans we adopted over the years and trying to make it as perfect as possible, and to actually everything building up to that one moment, and as it panned out and as we planned it, it actually happened precisely the same way. So, I mean, a lot of credit to Rassie and Jock and the coaching staff for the work that went in behind the scenes. I mean, we get all the glory because we're playing on the field, but I mean, they're the real mastermind behind the whole Bok outfit and plan and preparation and success of the whole campaign.
And listen, can you go into more detail about the final, right? So for us as fans and spectators, we obviously, support our teams and countries, but we don't get an opportunity to experience that kind of moment. Take us through, you're singing the national anthem of South Africa along with your teammates. You've prepared for this for so many years. Give us some of your thoughts and some of your memories of that day.
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the most stressful weeks I've ever been through. I mean, getting married wasn't even as stressful as the World Cup final. But like that whole week building up and the preparation and how we handled certain scenarios and going into during the week in preparation where we went through scenarios and actually trained for certain things that are going to happen in the game was brilliant. So stepping onto the field, it was just purely emotion. It's like a childhood dream come true. Standing there, singing your national anthem, 55 million South Africans watching you. I mean, you got the whole crowd, packed stadium in Japan, and the whole world's eyes on you to play 80 minutes of rugby, which was quite emotional, and it's like it was a massive dream come true for me in that scenario, in that specific moment. And then as the game played out, we were just in control for most of the game, and towards the end, when that final whistle went, it was just pure joy and emotion, and celebrations came out, and it was just one of the greatest moments of my life.
And then let's talk about taking that trophy back to South Africa. You were very young, probably 3 years old, when Joel Stransky kicked the winning drop goal in '95, right? And that obviously had a huge positive effect on South Africa with Nelson Mandela. But you come home with a trophy. You come home with Siya Kolisi, inspirational captain. Describe that, and what did you notice about the country after you returned?
Yeah, I think during the World Cup, South Africa went through a lot of trouble. We had serious issues with gender-based violence and a lot of political things happening in the government. And I think just for that brief moment during the World Cup, people started forgetting about that and started feeling a bit of hope again, which was absolutely amazing. And actually seeing the people's faces coming home with the trophy and that bus tour, that week bus tour we did, and just seeing how people enjoy and smile and actually just want to be part of the whole experience was quite breathtaking. So I think it was an incredible thing for the country, and it created a lot of hope and inspiration. And it was, as I said earlier, it was probably one of the best moments that I could ever wish for.
Now, listen, a lot of people don't touch on this part, obviously, the celebrations, all right? So take us to two-part question. The first one is, I saw you in the change room. There are a couple of photos. You've got royalty there from all across the world. You're sinking a few jars. Fafa's in his budgie smugglers. How long does that celebration go on for? This is now in the change room, after the final. And then take us to the South Africa, that week-long trip, because speaking to winners from previous tournaments like Brian Abana, he said that was probably, he struggled more on that week than he did during the preparation.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like, Faf wasn't the only one in his budgie smugglers. When I met Prince Harry, I was wearing a Speedo. I was just lucky the photo angle was from the bottom. So, but yeah, that celebration for that week was intense. It was, the guys were jawling till 4 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock on the bus for the whole day, till 4 o'clock in the morning, and it carried on for 10 days. And no, it was massive. And every city we go to, there's just thousands and thousands of people that want to see the bus, want to see the players, want to see the trophy, which was absolutely amazing.
So let's talk about South Africa producers. The young talent is unbelievable, obviously. Grassroots Rugby, the school system. You went to one of those powerhouses, Paul Roos. Could you talk about rugby at their younger level? Is it still growing in South Africa? And are more people from different backgrounds finding the sport?
Yeah, definitely. I think, first of all, like rugby in South Africa, especially in childhood stages, is so competitive. I mean, there's so many big schools that actually coach and condition players to become top athletes. And so I think the schooling system and the rugby in the youth is massive. And then like guys like Siya and Mapimpi and Lucanio and those oaks, the fact that they became such big superstars from disadvantaged backgrounds gives a lot of hope to guys who don't think they're going to make it because maybe they come out of a township or they come from a disadvantaged background. But the fact that Siya is such a great leader and so inspirational for the team he creates that inspiration in kids that want to play rugby and stay out of trouble and want to make it big one day. So that's incredible. And just the whole story behind the World Cup and how it actually touches people's lives, and especially younger kids that want to become professional rugby players, put in the effort and the hard work to become that one day.
And just like them, you're inspiring the next generation of redhead rugby players as well.
So it's limited in South Africa, but any redhead that needs advice, I'm always willing to give.
So talking about that, you've obviously learned a lot of lessons during your rugby journey, playing, locally in South Africa and then overseas as well. We've got a lot of young rugby players that would like to become professional players. Are there any words of advice you can impart to them?
Yeah, I think probably the most important thing that I've learned over the last couple of years, is especially in your younger days, is like how disciplined you need to be and the amount of sacrifice you need to make. I mean, I remember when I was in matric, writing my finals, I had to go train with the Stormers instead of going to my matric rage. So it was something that you need to sacrifice and willing to give up to actually become a professional sport. And I think over all sports, it's that bit of sacrifice in the beginning that gives you that edge towards the end, where you can actually become a professional and you can become a legend in your field.
And now let's look ahead, Stephen, to 2021. Of course, this year has been, very complicated, as we all well know. Today, we saw the news, the Guinness Pro 14 welcoming 4 South African sides to the competition, making it 16 teams, called the Rainbow Cup, starting April 17. So now tell us your thoughts. You've got the Bulls, the Lions, Sharks, and your side, the Storm, is heading up north.
Yeah, it's quite exciting. It's definitely something new for the South African teams, for the big franchises. I mean, the Sharks, the Cheetahs, and the Kings been playing in the north, and I mean they had some great success at home, struggled a bit overseas, but it's something new, something exciting. Definitely looking forward to it. Definitely going to miss the Super Rugby a lot. I mean, touring Australia and New Zealand was challenging, but a lot of fun. But really looking forward to the Rainbow Cup and what the challenges had to offer, and actually playing against new guys, new talent, and actually trying to measure ourselves with almost the rest of the world, if I can put it like that.
Yeah, I would say it's probably an interesting time as well, because time zone wise, it's going to be a bit easier, of course. And then you said, a different style of game, a different preparation. So, we still probably have the test matches against our fierce rivals in the Southern Hemisphere. So can you touch on that? Is it, as a forward, particularly in the tight 5, is it a challenge you're really looking forward to? Yeah,
definitely. I think up north is the weather is wet, the ball's going to be slippery. It's going to be a lot more set piece orientated games. And we've got experienced coaches who, especially Jock and Rassie, who've been coaching at Munster before the World Cup. So I mean, a bit of their knowledge in our franchises will go a long way to see success in the north.
So, and then let's look at, the anticipated British and Irish Lions tour to South Africa. So much talk about that. Very excitable group coming from the United Kingdom and beyond. Are the Springboks ready? Will they be ready? Give us some insight there.
Yeah, we as a playing group started talking about the British Irish Lions, started doing our preparation, mostly over Zoom calls, but still the team knows what the plans are, the plans we want to go into, and in the direction the team wants to play by then. But yeah, we still need to play a lot of minutes and play as a team together. So hopefully before the Lions come to South Africa, we can have a couple of test matches, try out our strategies, and actually get a bit of game time together, so we can be as prepared as possible for when they come.
And then if you could look back at this year, we obviously, this is a reflection show as well. Give us some of your personal ups and downs, things that you've gone through during this year.
Yeah, I think probably one of the most challenging years that I've personally went through. I mean, I was quite lucky in the beginning of the year, played a couple of rugby games, got a serious injury as COVID happened, so I had a lot of time to recover and get back to full fitness. But I mean, as soon as I got fit and started playing, the rugby just kept being postponed, and eventually, when it started again, everything became better. I think it was quite challenging on the country itself, South Africa. financially the country's struggling, and I can see a lot of businesses closing down, and I can see a lot of struggle in the people around Cape Town and around South Africa. So yeah, but otherwise, I mean, it's just great being on the field again and trying to create a bit of hope for people and playing good rugby. Yeah, I'm quite excited for the year to end and actually get 2021 going.
Yes, pal, we're very excited to see you on the field, of course. And as you said, giving that hope, you're doing what you can in your capacity, and it really does make a big difference, believe it or not. So Spicy Plum, any final thoughts you have for the rugby community tuning in? Obviously everyone's very excited for next year. What message do you have for them?
Yeah, I think next year is going to be quite interesting, quite exciting, and may the best teams win.
And pal, listen, where do we get your hot sauce, your spicy sauce? I've checked the chimney. There's nothing there yet. So where can we find it?
I'll send you the link to the guys, and hopefully they can sort you out. But it's quite delicious, and you must have it.
Beautiful.
Get your orders in.
Good, we shall. Well, listen, we want to thank you so much for joining us on the Christmas live show. We know you're busy. You've got a match to prepare for on the 26th. We'll be tuning in and cheering you on. And we look forward to, of course, getting some of those spicy sauces on future meals.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Awesome. Cheers, buddy. Well, next up, great chat we have there. We have former England international and Exeter Chiefs legend Don Armand, a man who is a billionaire in Zimbabwe. He has a little message for us, and that's going to be followed by part 2 of the biography of Christmas by Paul Carenza.
Hey guys, Don Armand here. I just want to wish everyone at the 3BOD Rugby group and fans globally a very Merry Christmas. I also just want to say stay safe, and if any of you need to reach out to me, I'm only social media away or whatever it is. Look forward to seeing you all. Cheers, bye.
I want to tell you a little bit about St. Nicholas. And way back then, it's one of the earliest things really got to do with Christmas is old St. Nick himself. He never knew in his lifetime he had anything to do with Christmas. And in fact, for hundreds of years, he didn't. St. Nicholas Day, 6th of December, look around Northern Europe, Holland particularly, they love a bit of St. Nicholas Day, Sinterklaas, they would call him. And then he was exported later to the Americas. Sinterklaas became Santa Claus and so on. But looking back at the original St. Nicholas, there's loads and loads of great stories about him. He was one of these really popular saints. And he was the patron saint of sailors. So they would travel around the Mediterranean and tell stories. Sailors are therefore really good at sending traditions around the world because they travel, they take it to different places. And the stories get embellished a little bit. If you pray to St. Nicholas and then you're saved at sea, then you are going to take that story with you and maybe enlarge upon it in a few different ways. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about St. Nicholas from my book, Hark, the biography of Christmas. There's this idea, of course, that he was a very wealthy man, very generous, didn't have any kids of his own, so he wanted to give his money away. Remember that show, The Secret Millionaire? Remember that Channel 4? There's an American version as well. A bit like that. He wanted to give lots of his money away, but he wanted to do it secretly. So he heard that there's a widower with 3 daughters, and they were going to be sort of sold into prostitution. So he thought, I'm going to act on this. I'm going to give them some money. So he passed by the window one night, saw the stockings or the shoes drying by the fireside. So St. Nicholas, there's no pane glass at this point. So he lobs a gold ball, a gold sack sort of thing, through the window, and it lands in one of the stockings. So the legend goes. Does it again a second time for the second daughter. Third time, though, for the third daughter, he's caught by the bloke who's wondering who's giving all this money away. And St. Nicholas swears him to secrecy. Of course, the bloke doesn't keep that secret because it turns out tales of St. Nicholas and Santa Claus and stockings and presents pretty famous and well known today. So also around that time, you get the start of the sort of Christianity has taken over the Roman world, and Emperor Constantine, he's asked for this big thing called Council of Nicaea. You heard of the Council of Nicaea? Nicaea, to see you. Nicaea, thank you for that. So that's really when you get the date of Christmas being sort of formalised a bit more. The date of Easter is formalised at that council as well. But they can't agree on when to celebrate Christmas. The Western Church and the Eastern Church have 2 slightly different calendars. So one lot say it's December the 25th. The other lot say around about 6th of January. What's the difference between the two? 12. The 12 days of Christmas. They're to satisfy the Western end of the church and the Eastern end of the church. Because what's Christmas about if it's not making both sides of the family happy?
Welcome. There we go. That's on mute. Dave, you got your camera right? Is that right? Welcome back. Welcome back to the Christmas special. How are you, Dave? Those things. Tell you, you're on mute. You're on mute. Listen, you had one job. Come on. You're on mute. Take it off. There we go. Welcome back to part 2 of Three Blokes, a Ball and a Bod Christmas special. A little bit annoyed that 3 people I introduced into the group have got top billing ahead of me, and Dallin, Stephen, and Don Armour. But there we go. I'll take that with Joe separately. Dave, how are you, mate?
I'm not so bad at all. How are you keeping? It's a long time since we did that filibuster that nobody's seen.
Mate, that was the best show ever put on in the history of ThreeBOD, and nobody saw it. It was it was pretty depressing, wasn't it?
No, I thought it was the best show ever. So never mind the rest of the
Dave, I just want to step in very quickly, just to mention one thing before we tell everyone what we do and where we fit in. Is that there was some really sad news in South Africa yesterday that a gentleman called Arthur Peterson, who was the South African team manager for many years, in and out of the team management. He served under Jake White. He served under Peter de Villiers, as well as others. He played a huge role in the 2009 British and Irish Lions tour. And I'd just like to take maybe 5 seconds or 10 seconds for us all to just pay our respects to Arthur Peterson. Many thanks, guys. And now let's get on with the serious business of rugby around Christmas. David, introduce yourself to everybody. Tell everybody what you do with regards to our amazing ThreeBOD family.
Well, I help host the Ulster Rugby Roundup show with the White Walkers chat and crack, and every so often they're very kind to let me off the wall the odd time, just for recreational purposes, just to host a couple of shows and have a bit of fun. And it's been great doing the shows with Nigel Quigley, the Chief White Walker, the Night King himself, who we may see later. You just never know. And our crack squad of Ulster fans, bringing the best of Ulster Rugby and bringing people who have been part of the Ulster Rugby family, bringing them on. For example, we've had Ian Witten and Gareth Steenson on recently from Exeter Chiefs, and I got the great job of doing a double shift with Nick Mullins, Sonia McLaughlin, and Sean Maloney, and it was great fun. Had to do it twice because first time nobody could see us, nobody could hear us, everybody could hear everybody else and not me. But it was nice to take 2 done, and it was an absolutely fantastic show. I'm just glad to be able to come and bring a bit of the gizmo into Christmas, because we all like our gizmos at Christmas time. Andy, what about yourself? Tell the good blokes what you do as part of the group.
Well, apart from obviously wearing really stylish headgear, which is uncomfortable because it definitely belongs to my 6-year-old daughter, but I'll take that off for a second. So I'm the lead on the ThreeBOD show, which obviously covers South African rugby. Hang on, I'll move that way. I always move. You can obviously see my allegiance behind me with the British Lions shirt, so that's fine. But listen, I love all the rugby that's going on in South Africa, from schools all the way up to international level, and things that are going on in communities, and you name it. The women's game is moving forward quickly here, which is great. There's just so much. It's a huge hotbed of rugby, but also there's unfortunately like a massive political undertone as well, which doesn't always work very well. But it's brilliant to talk about, and it's brilliant that an amazing country such as this has such an amazing rugby culture. We absolutely love it. And speaking of amazing rugby culture, I think we've got a couple of videos lined up for us from an Exeter Chiefs legend, and also obviously you're going to recognise a certain South African legend as well.
Hey guys, Neil Clark here. Just want to wish the ThreeBOD rugby group and all the rugby family very Merry Christmas from sunny Exeter. Also a massive thank you to Joe for all the help and the support, and through this very dark time at the moment. There's a lot of individuals struggling with mental health, COVID. It's not an exciting time to be around, but as long as we all stick together, it'll all be fine. Hope everybody enjoys Christmas. I hope you have a fantastic time, and hope to be doing a bit more with you guys in the new year. All the best. Take care.
I wish you all, the ThreeBOD family, a very happy Christmas. May you find in this time of insecurity, the time of the stress, may you find your peace in a nice program like ThreeBOD. And may 2021 bring you more joy unspeakable, so that the things that you wished for yourself this year will come true next year.
Amazing stuff. Thank you to Neil Clark and, of course, Mr. Peter de Villiers there, which is such a lovely message, and both really poignant messages. So, what's going on at the moment, Dave? Eh?
Oh, absolutely. You know, all these uncertain times. You know, the way we see it is, there's always a long road to get to that little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. We are getting there, and absolutely, as long as we hold on to that, you know, I'll agree with PDB on this one. Absolutely, there's going to be some joy and bridal, but we always keep an eye out that we look after our neighbours, we look after our friends, and you know, again, we're always there. If anybody ever needs to speak to us, we're always there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're huge advocates of any sort of mental health institution, society, helpline, everything. We've all jumped on with so many, whether it's localized that people don't know about, or whether it's the amazing stuff that Joe mentioned at the top of the show. But we also have a few guests joining us tonight, so I think I'm in the right place to introduce my two South Africans. The first one is he's a bit of a ThreeBOD legend, this man. He's been on so many times. He texts me at least 5 times a week asking me to be on a show when I don't even have one. We don't even have one planned. But he loves rugby and he loves talking. So let me introduce Mr. Renan Stennekamp.
Evening, gents.
How are you, sir?
I wouldn't say I love talking, but if you give me too much time, then that may prove true. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. And our other South African guest is someone I respect highly for a numerous amount of reasons. But tonight, it's all about rugby and all about Christmas. So I'm just going to say he's got one of the greatest rugby brains in this country. And I think I'm probably stepping out my box here a little bit, but I'm going to make it official. He's going to join me next year, and he's going to be helping us out massively on the ThreeBOD show. He is, of course, the G-man himself, Gareth Mason.
How's it, guys? How you doing?
How are you, mate? Oh, look, someone bought himself a little Christmas present.
I'm up to date. I've got to be up to date. I see the lions in the back. I see the lions in the background, so I have to compete now, just to back our boys.
Warehouse today, looking for the cheap stuff at Christmas. Yours is 900 rand. Yours is 900 rand, and the Lions one is like 1500 rand.
It's ridiculous, the price. I want to get a Lions one just for memorabilia, but when I saw the price, I thought, let me backtrack a bit.
So, Dave, over to you, my man.
Oh well, I get the pick of the Southern Hemisphere. I'm sorry, guys, but you know, first of all, I'm going to introduce the Queen of all Blacks, the Professor Zakaya. How are you?
But she's on mute.
There we go.
There we go.
I didn't think we controlled that.
How are you?
Yeah, good.
I almost nearly as well lit up as Big Joe earlier on. That's fantastic, absolutely brilliant, and joining us all for a bit of crack. A man who we know took the right turn at Albuquerque, a big ambassador for the Heartland Rugby Championship, and one of the best connoisseurs of virtual rugby I know. He is Rabs. Mr. Hare, how are you, sir?
Hello, how are you guys?
He's there. How are we today, sir?
Oh, trying to be summer.
Excellent.
And we're in the mighty Ngāti Porou East Coast, which is the Pahutakawa logo, which is the New Zealand Christmas tree.
Absolutely fantastic, guys. Look, yeah, you're right, Mr. Quigley. We are getting treated here. We're getting everybody today on this one.
Got a proper Springbok versus All Black little face-off here. Unfortunately, we haven't seen them play against each other this year, but let's go to Zakaya and Rabs first. Zakaya, you are like the font of all Black knowledge. Where are you happy? Are you happy with the All Blacks this year? In fact, no, hang on. I'm going to rephrase that. Are you happy with rugby this past year?
Oh, I thought Super Rugby Aotearoa was a fabulous tournament. And remember, it was the first tournament to be played, after COVID hit the world. So I think we were all just dying to see some rugby at that stage. To see the New Zealand teams just go at each other week in, week out, I think that was hard on them because it was really quite fast-paced rugby. As far as the All Blacks go, pretty inconsistent, uncharacteristically inconsistent season from them. They just seem to be having this love affair with changing, with playing players out of position at the moment, sort of hoping that ends soon. I sort of think it's a result of perhaps too much depth in some positions, so they want to give everybody a go, but I'm hoping that we see the end of that soon. However, for me, there were two highlights for the Tri-Nations. The first one was Los Pumas beating the All Blacks. I mean, hey, I'm an AB's fan. I don't like losing, but that was tremendous. I just thought, it meant so much to them, and I respected them so much for being in the competition with everything that they'd had to go through. So for them to pull one out, and they didn't miss the tackle that day. They played a near perfect game of rugby. So I just thought that was tremendous. I even had a tear in my eye at the end of that, and it wasn't because we lost. The other highlight is new guys that are coming through with the Wallabies. Wonderful, wonderful. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with Dave Rennie at the helm. So that was my year of rugby. And I mean, I must say, really, really missed not having South Africa, playing, because of course the old foe. It's the games that we really look forward to. But let's look forward to 2021 and to go back to the Rugby Championship, hopefully the way it needs to be played.
Well, Rabs, let's look at the other side. The Pumas pushed Australia hard here on the Tri-Nations as well. Where have you seen the highlights as far as Australia is concerned this year?
Well, backing the two draws at the bookies was awesome. Got good odds of 18-1, so I was a happy camper. Jumped on the Pumas to beat the All Blacks, got 18-1 on that, so that made me a happy camper. But otherwise, no. It was a good year. New Zealand, Australia, both sort of tried to keep some sort of normality going, and it was a case of, well, how what do we do? We've just got to keep on keeping on. It was great. I think my highlight would have been probably, dare I say it, the game at Eden Park, where it was a full stadium and the rest of the world was in lockdown, but New Zealand was still going hard out. But from my perspective, the club rugby in New Zealand was still going strong. There was lots of changes every week with what was going on in club rugby, and with social distancing and stuff like that. But most of the unions all got away to a good start, and then they had a bit of a truncated Heartland Championship, but it was more sort of split into the north and the south. And if we had a final, it would have been maybe between Wanganui and South Canterbury, the two winners of each island. But hey, next year we've got the Heartland Championship back, so that's awesome. Same draw as this year, just the dates have changed a little. But no, all up, it's been a great year. Oh, there you all are. You're back again. But yeah, it's been a great year. I've been busy writing a book for those interested. I've next year is East Coast Centenary, the home of the great George Napier. and they turn 100 years old next year. So I've been writing a bit of a book on that. So please keep an eye out for it. And it's I've named every player since 1923 that has donned the sky blue. So there's going to be So it's every result, everything like that. So it's really awesome. But then on saying that, next year is also the Wairarapa Bush's 50th anniversary of amalgamation. They used to be Wairarapa and they used to be just Bush. So they amalgamated and came up with the awesome name Wairarapa Bush. So they turn 50 next year. So congratulations to them. But mainly, though, I'd like to just end my little blurb here by saying it's been awesome being part of the family. Renee, Dave, Andy, G-Man, Zakaya, the whole lot of yous, but especially to Mr. Shep. He brought the rabbit out of his, unmasked the rabbit, I suppose you could say, for about 10 years. All you saw was the rabbit. But hey, here I am. Got my Gibraltar shirt in the background, Mr. Shep. And for Andy, my 2005 South African signed jersey. Cyprus in the middle, West Coast, East Coast, and of course, you can't go past Heartland. Heartland Rugby is where it is in New Zealand. Club Rugby makes All Blacks, and we'll be a stronger team next year for it. Bring on 2021. There you go.
Rabs, I love your passion. I just love it every time. I just find myself smiling every time he just starts talking rugby, because I just, like, we all believe no one loves rugby as much as we do, like as individuals, but there are hundreds and thousands of us out there, and I think you portray it so well. Speaking of a man who loves his rugby and has probably missed his world champions playing this year, G-Man, how hard has it been to watch every single tier 1 nation in the world play, apart from your world champions, buddy?
No, it's been tough. It's been tough. I mean, especially when you see what the Pumas achieved. I thought that was unbelievable. And then wondering, what if we had taken the risk, taken the opportunity, done what the Pumas have done? Like a lot of people say, we missed that All Black SA game, which was probably going to be a memorable one. But I mean, there's so much that's gone on in this year. All we can say is what if, but it's been tough. It's been tough not watching them, but it's been great. We've been entertained by a phenomenal Tri-Nation. So credit to all the guys there for continuing to play quality rugby. But hopefully we'll be back next year. I can't wait. I really can't.
And do you think this, and Renan's going to follow this up in a minute, but I want to get your opinion now. It's now sort of official. There might be a bit of what I class as a soft opening, but the South African franchises are going north. They're going to play in essentially a 2-month cup competition of some sort of scripture. I've got a bit of an inside knowledge here. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble, but if this doesn't happen because of COVID, there is still a Super Rugby Championship for South Africa planned. Didn't hear it from me. But generally speaking, if they do go north, what do you think the benefits of that are? Or is it a negative?
Look, I'm two ways about it. I wish we could have done it half-half, like had some teams in the Super Rugby playing against our Super Rugby friends over there down in the south, as well as the north. I think we were always going to be planning to go to the north. I mean, it's been a goal for a while. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be competitive. I think our guys will learn a lot, especially now for next year in preparation for the Lions tour. I think there's a lot of advantages in playing north, different conditions. The guys are going to continue to learn, and also with the World Cup happening over there in Europe, I mean, it's a good place to be. So I think it's going to be good for the team. I feel sorry, and Renan, I know will agree on this, for the Cheetahs. I just think it's unfortunate how they've been treated in this situation. I feel the top 4 teams in Currie Cup Super Rugby Unlocked, whoever it may be, should be the 4 teams to go through, and then they fight every time to try and see who can win it. Just makes South African rugby more competitive. Who knows? Maybe the Griquas will get an opportunity. I just feel that's the way we should be going. But I think it's all good. I think the North is a great move forward. But I hope we still have a link in the future with the South, because having your hands in both ends is going to be great for SA Rugby.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Reenan, for you, so this is a bit of a layered question, I suppose. So, firstly, for South African rugby, how good is it that there's going to be a better and bigger involvement in the Northern Hemisphere? As a massive Cheetahs fan, how much does it hurt?
No, look, Andy, let's not beat about the bush. It sucks, okay? But one thing that, and this is from my personal, one thing that I've taught myself over the past few years, and this is thanks to Joe for having me on the show so often, is I've been able to think outside my box. So I'm capable of an unbiased take on this, and I'll give you that now. This is a great move for South Africa. This is a great move for the 4 teams that are going there. Their game will progress and become so strong, so much stronger. We saw that with the Cheetahs in the 2.5 years that we had up north. We became so much stronger, and the same will happen with those teams if they do it right. So yes, to answer your question, this is definitely in the best interest of South African rugby from a Springbok point of view, but also from the franchise point of view. So that's my unbiased answer to you. My biased answer, it sucks. You can't get past that.
Where do the Cheetahs go? What should they do? What's available to them?
And there's nothing available. They can't go to France. They can't go to England. So what's left? Russia, Germany, Spain.
Russia, Germany,
That's what's
Spain,
running around
apparently.
in the question. I mean, we signed a guy like Franstein, okay? We paid money to get him back from France. He came here, and he said his sole purpose is he wants to play against the British Isles Lions next year. The only way he's going to get that right is to play his rugby in South Africa. But then he needs to play against meaningful opposition. And playing against part-time teams, all respect to the Russians, they've got a kind of professional system running. But the Spanish and the Germans, I mean, get real. No. So he's going to probably have to be loaned out to another team, so we're going to lose him. Okay? Because the guy wants to play for the Boks next year. I totally get that. But he's not going to play for the Boks if he plays against a bunch of Germans every weekend. So, look, these are hard words, but it's facts. So, yeah, that's where we are.
Well, it's one of those situations, and definitely I agree, Rena. I believe the Cheetahs have been really hard done by with this, but certainly there's certainly a lot that we can look forward to in the general route of things when we come to the Southern Hemisphere. And I want to thank all of you for contributing towards what's been an absolutely excellent year, and I'm looking forward to working with you all over the next year as well. I'm really looking forward to it. So thank you very much, guys. And now, everybody, it's my privilege to introduce a small video. It's regarding a rugby coach, a police officer who unfortunately lost his life in the line of duty. And as well as that, this year he was given the Unsung Hero Award at the BBC Sports Personality of the Year Awards this year. So I'd like to introduce a small video about Sergeant Matt Ratner. Well, you can't really say much more than that. Absolutely fantastic profile of a great officer and a very, very, very good rugby coach. And there was never a dry eye in the house whenever this video was played. Never mind here, but I'm sure we can all pass our condolences and our best wishes to Matt's family. Now moving on to our on this part of our Christmas special, I want to look at now the visually impaired rugby, and joining us for this part of it, we've got from the James Foundation, Alex Basson. Alex, how are you?
Very well. Good evening. How you doing? Hi, Andy. How you doing, matey? All right?
Oh, I'm very excited, man. I'm excited. But we'll get on to that in a minute. I need to stay calm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also joining us tonight, we've got Gareth Davies as well. Gareth, how are you?
I am very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Oh,
good evening, Jay.
Good to have you. And a big shout out to my good friend from Enniskillen, Mr. Paul Hanley. I know Paul can't join us this evening, but certainly our best wishes to you and your family, Paul. Well, guys, what's happened this year in the world of visually impaired rugby, and also looking ahead to the Lions tour. Alex, give us an idea of where things have been and where things are going for you.
Absolutely. As you can imagine, it's been a tricky year for everybody, let alone VI Rugby. As a charity, we do face-to-face interaction, and that got stripped out of our feet, overnight. But the mantra of let's break down the barriers and think about the positives. We've actually put VI Rugby into a brilliant place. We've managed to interact a lot with the players, and the players have done a massive amount to still drive the game forward. They've done some fundraisers and some challenges themselves, which Gareth can tell you a little bit more about. But one of the amazing things that I've found is still being able to keep in touch with people like we're doing now virtually, and how interested Premiership clubs, rugby unions have been interested in the game moving forward. And then some of the wonderful work Andy's been doing in South Africa ahead of the Lions tour that we hope to do in June. So, Premiership clubs have gone through a very difficult time, like everyone has, but their passion to still get clubs up and running and develop the game has been phenomenal. And a big hat off to that. In the UK, we're doing a lot of work in the south of the country and moving a little bit north with Wasp starting their team in the new year. Quins already have a team going, Sale Sharks, and we're looking at that Bristol, Bath, Gloucester area. So very, very exciting. We've been doing some fantastic work with Ireland Rugby Union as well. Dave McKay over there has done some fantastic work with RNIB, and Ian McKinley, one of our ambassadors, has now moved back to Ireland, and having kind of a pair of boots on the ground has been fantastic from our perspective. But kind of the gold star has to go to Wales for me. And that's hard for an Englishman to say, sorry, Gareth. But they have been phenomenal. G's part of the Cardiff Blues side that got up and running last year. And as soon as that kind of hit the ground running, Wales Rugby Union have been phenomenal in kind of putting their stamp on it, making VI Rugby officially part of their strategy moving forward. And they're developing 3 teams across the country, and have been kind of really forthcoming in developing coaches, getting the word out there, finding ways to develop the game, which has been really handy because we can select people from Ireland, from Wales. We're still growing Scotland, but England as well, for our brilliant trip we've got coming up, hopefully next year in 2021.
And Gareth, the VI journey for you, how did you get into it? What has it done for you? Where do you see this thing going in the long term? Oh,
you insulted him, Andy. How dare you?
Don't ask me a question I'm really excited about. I'm going to disappear. I'll tell you what, let's flip this round and hopefully Gareth can come back to us. Bass, I'm too excited. We've got to talk about next year. So I can. We've been in contact a little bit over the last, I don't know, it's probably like 6 months now, chatting a little bit about visually impaired rugby and stuff. And you very, very kindly, and I'm massively humbled, have asked me to sort of try and form some kind of Springbok visually impaired rugby team, which I have literally in the last 2 weeks, don't tell my boss, done nothing but try and form a visually impaired rugby team from my day job, which is amazing. And I think I may have the ex-Springbok women's coach, Aslam Abrahams, who is a friend of our show on 3BOD. The problem I've got now is it's tipped the balance a project to I have to beat you, and that's
100% record from my end. 100% record. It's a big one to beat, Andy.
But just tell us about the tour you've got planned next year, and then I'm going to try and chip in. I don't really know too much. It's sort of like a massive whirlwind for me at the moment, but I'm so excited about it. But just tell us what you've got planned and what other tours in the past have done and what they've achieved.
So one thing we always try and do with VI Rugby is do a showcase piece. What we try and do is every year go somewhere, bring the game to another country, preferably a rugby playing country, where there's a showcase game happening. Also bring a team from the UK across as well to do some player development. So what we do is we tend to go out, do a recce. 2017, we were lucky to go on the British and Irish Lions tour to New Zealand, set on a New Zealand blind rugby team. 2019, we went to Japan, set up the Japanese blind rugby team, and we aim to go to South Africa. We will be coming to South Africa and set up the blind box. Now, what we do is we come out, we capacity build some coaches, we develop some players, we set up the team with the idea that we bring a pool of players out, around 10 players, to come and play a competitive 3-match series. But the idea is it's not just to focus on those players. VI Rugby and rugby in general is all about community and how we develop the community. So we really look at using local rugby clubs, been developing it into the local community, not just building professional coaches, but everyone who's involved in a rugby club or a rugby game. So we look at the bigger picture. So the idea is that when we come over here during the British and Irish Lions tour, we'll bring a group of 10 visually impaired players over, and we'll be over for around 7 to 8 days. We'll have a couple of training days where we get the teams ready, get them prepared, and then we have a 3-match series, a blind box versus the blind lions, or blind blocks versus blind lions, where we'll be battling it out in our VI Rugby match, which, as you remember, is a 7-a-side touch version of the game, to see who comes out on top. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Andy, we got a 100% win record here. We've taken it to New Zealand. We've got a good game. We've taken it to Japan. They gave us a good game. We're ready for you. We're up for it, and we're ready for you. But the trip's more than the rugby. It's about what we can do within the community, especially a World Cup winning country. So much happening in South Africa. We've got some brilliant players coming from Wales, Ireland, England, over to develop as individuals, not just players themselves, which I'm sure Gareth can tell you a little bit more about as well, what Japan did for him when he came on our tour. But extremely excited, cannot wait for it. I think it's going to be our biggest one yet.
Yeah, amazing. And do you know what? I think the thing is that there's a clear excitement around the whole thing. Like anyone I've spoken to over here are like, literally, I'm in. I haven't even literally within 5 seconds of speaking to them, they're like, I'm in. They just see it as a huge chance. And obviously, as you guys are coming out of February as a management team, and we'll meet and we'll chat and stuff like that. But I think one of the great things is that we can take this to so many. The demographic in South Africa and the communities in South Africa that could potentially get involved with this is just absolutely unreal. And I think, just to reiterate, like when I speak to people about it, they're so excited because they see so much good in what you guys are doing with regards rugby. Listen, this is a country that, without getting too deep, Nelson Mandela stood in front of and said sport is the tool, and rugby is one of those tools, and it's still completely applicable anywhere in the world. And it's obviously our game, we love it. And Gareth, I'd love you to chip in now and just tell us what VI Rugby has done for you, what it means to you in the past, and where you see it as a tool moving forward. Oh, are we lacking sound, or is that just me?
Oh. Go again, G. No luck. No.
Bass, maybe you can, just until Gareth gets his sound sorted with Joe, maybe you can just tell us, look, you've been on these journeys, you've seen these stories evolve, you've seen people evolve and grow on these tours. What does it mean to the guys that have traveled the world and played in these environments?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed is, you either get told you can't play the game because you're visually impaired, or you've got to stop playing. You've suddenly got this thing taken away from you that you've either always been able to do or always been told you can't do. So hopefully what we've done is we've created a safe game that gives people the opportunity just to get on the pitch, make some friends, be part of their community. And I remember I've got this story about when it was Japan and we all got to Gatwick Airport, and I was obviously the coach and I've got all the players there, and I went to go to the toilet and I had all the players follow me. They didn't want to leave me at Gatwick Airport, like, come on guys, you're at Gatwick Airport, you've all been on holiday before, etc. And then about 10 days later, after being in Japan, a country that doesn't speak much English, doesn't have many English signs, all that sort of stuff, we got back to Narita Airport. As we got through security, I turned around to get everyone's boarding passes back, and they'd all left me. Everyone had gone. Everyone had buggered off and done their own thing. I was like, where are you? Oh, we're going shopping, we're doing this, and having some food and doing that. And the whole change in mindset from that 10 days, that whole development of independence, of self-belief, of I can do this, I can get around, I have to be, more in control of myself or more confident in my own ability, was phenomenal. So I ended up going and have a beer on my own at the airport because everyone had bloody left me and it felt a bit lonely. I wish I was back at Gatwick, but it's phenomenal what the game of rugby can do, let alone giving a bit of lease of life to visually impaired people who would either have the game taken away from them or been told you can't play this sport because you're visually impaired.
Gaz, can we hear you? Can you hear us? Can we hear you? No.
No, sorry, G.
Oh no, gutted because I'd love to hear.
All I'd love to say, Andy, is just a couple of last bits for me. That Gareth's been such a guy. If it wasn't for the players, this game wouldn't be driven forward in the way that it's been driven forward, especially in Wales. The reason why the Welsh Rugby Union have made it part of their strategy isn't because of me, it's because of players like Gareth who have forced the game and forced people's hands to go, look, I'm willing to drive this, I'm willing to take it forward, I'm willing to be part of it, and I want to do this. And it's players like Gareth that have moved it forward, and it's individuals like yourself, Andy, and Dave on the call now who just feel the love of the game of rugby, who are able to drive it. And I would love to give a big shout out to, I know people have done it already, the brilliant Big Joe Shep, who is just a phenomenal human being. Andy, we wouldn't have known each other, we wouldn't be doing all this brilliant stuff in South Africa, the brilliant stuff we've done with Dan Van Zyl and what he's doing with the academy in Ireland, if it wasn't for the great man. So Joe, the Change Foundation, and on a personal level, huge amount of love for the great guy, because it's individuals like Joe and Gareth and yourself, Andy, and the Ian McKinleys of this world that do drive the game forward. I'm just in the driving seat, they're the ones with the map, essentially. Absolutely, you guys are the ones with the map, I'm just controlling the vehicle.
I will always back Joe to the hilt on his amazing intentions. Gareth, we're going to give this one last go. Give me some sound, man. Oh, I heard sound then. No, we're not getting sound. So disappointed. But maybe if you can get sound later on, we will sort it out. Guys, I just want to jump in, like, the enormity of what Bass does with his team. He is the first to say it's not just him. That there's a huge team behind this, and they're coming over in February. Now, listen, guys, I'm generally speaking, like, share this, send this to somebody. We have an amazing structure already in place for this, okay, that Bass and his team have put in place. They're coming to South Africa in February to coach coaches how to coach visually impaired rugby. Now, it's not going to teach coaches how to be coaches. We're looking for people who have a passion for the game. We're not going to. They're not going to teach you how to pass a ball. They're not going to teach you how to kick. They're just going to teach you how to manage that training situation and manage the games. They're bringing everything with them. It's free. Okay, Andrew at scrum5rugby.com or go on to easy now.
Careful.
Easy tag.
Yeah, I'm trying to be serious for the first time ever. Andrew at scrum5rugby.com, right? Or go to the Change Foundation, or look us up on Facebook, or look us up on Twitter, whatever. Get in contact. You want to be involved with this? Guys, the arms are open, okay? We're looking at playing 3 test matches against a team that has never been beaten, and we have to beat them. And it's going to be amazing. Like, guys, anybody I speak to about this, it is just completely, I get halfway through a sentence and they go to me, I'm in. Like, literally, it's that easy. Plus, the guys are going to give you free coaching. Plus, the guys are going to let you be involved in one of the most amazing experiences you've ever been. I keep saying to Bass, I'm so humbled by this opportunity. So please, guys, Andrew at scrum5rugby.com. My number, go on Facebook. I don't care. I'm not some sort of celebrity. Like, find me, Andrew Daniel. I'm there. All right, find Bass. Get in contact with us. If you want involvement in this, let us know, because it's going to be awesome. It's just going to be brilliant. Am I wrong, Bass? Am I getting too overexcited?
You've nailed it. You've nailed it. And as you said, everyone and anyone could be involved. Coaching facility, just turning up and bringing a family to come and watch. Just be involved in whatever way you want to be. Rugby's the winner at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Oh, well,
Sorry,
guys,
I had to get off my chest. I'm banging. I've got half these competitive streak, half these doing an amazing thing. But competitive streak's taken over.
We've managed to get a half-an-hour session, and Facebook haven't cut us off. It's fantastic.
Not speaking to ourselves, which is fantastic.
Well, look, Alex, thank you very much for that. Absolutely insightful stuff on VA Rugby, and Andy, pleasure as always. Looking forward to doing some more business with you next year.
Absolutely, there's no doubt we'll be interviewing Gareth soon anyway. It's just going to happen. So we're going to hear that man's voice. We're going to hear what VI Rugby's done for him. We'll put it out on Scrum 5. We'll put it out on this channel. Bass can put it out wherever he wants to put it out. We'll sort it out, and we'll hear Gareth's version, and that'll just put nails in coffins of people who just want to get completely involved with this project.
Absolutely, yeah. And I want to give a big shout out to our good friend Ian McKinley as well. We had him on our Ulster show a wee while back, and big congratulations to him after becoming a daddy and joining the Sleep Deprivation Society. Welcome, Ian. And thanks for the great beer recommendation as well. I've changed to them already, so I can thank Ian for that as well. But look, guys, it's time for us to go now and hand over. But before we do that, I'm going to introduce you to the next part of our history of Christmas with the great Paul Carenza, and from both of us, and we'd love to thank you for everything, and Merry Christmas, everyone. And absolutely, Joe's the absolute star of this one. Without it, we wouldn't be here. So take it away, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, guys.
A bit about Christmas getting its face. It's an odd thing to say, isn't it? But Jesus, baby celebrated at Christmas. His face is not the face of Christmas as such. Even this face isn't really the face of Christmas. Arguably, Father Christmas, Santa Claus, that sort of thing. But before then, there were lots of other sort of people who got involved in it. You could argue in Germany, for example, they loved the kind of darker side of Christmas, certainly back in the Middle Ages. Next Ruprecht, okay, for example, this is page 80. If you've got your own book, you can read along, page 80. Germany in particular saw St. Nicholas pick up some unlikely companions. These are companions that would go along with St. Nicholas, a bit like elves of the day. We might see it a bit like that. Any kids watching, by the way, just, you might want to mute. Including, this rather frightening elf, Next Ruprecht, which was a manservant potentially, theoretically, rescued and fostered by St. Nicholas. Next Ruprecht would ask children if they were able to pray. Those who could were rewarded with fruit and gingerbread. Those who couldn't were given lumps of coal or a beating with a bag full of lumps of coal. The Next Ruprecht character is actually Santa's little helper. And so if you watch The Simpsons in Germany, Santa's Little Helper, the name of Bart Simpson's dog, is not called Santa's Little Helper. He's called Next Ruprecht. So the German side, Middle Ages, yeah, very much that sort of thing. St. Nicholas, all about, can children pray? Can we get them to pray? That sort of thing. And then they get rewarded, and then the presents sort of come in from there. Christmas is always a time of giving. Before that, grown-ups, would be giving money up and down society. So for your employer and to employees and back and forth. Not so much in the family home, more in the workplace. But for kids, yeah, the stocking and the prayers and the St. Nicholas is all about that, really. So what else do you get around then? You want a farting jester? I'll give you a farting jester. Roland the Jester, okay, Middle Ages, very popular jester. He had this, leap, whistle and fart routine. He was lured out of retirement by Henry II, I think it is. And, did his leap, whistle, fart routine at Christmas that year. I think that's due a comeback, surely. Britain's Got Talent. If you can leap, whistle and fart at the same time, I salute you. So then, Father Christmas owes a lot to this old man winter kind of thing. People say about Father Christmas wearing green. Certainly that's a lot of the case before the red stuff. Santa Claus, though, often wearing red and a bit of green. Sometimes depends, really. I mean, that sort of got more fixed in the mid-1800s with one particular cartoonist who particularly liked drawing Santa Claus. And that guy's called Thomas Nast. Again, by chance, he happened to be German, so he owed a lot back to his German roots of hearing these old tales of maybe the darker side of St. Nicholas before it became more family friendly. And under Thomas Nast, that cartoonist, you get, Santa Claus wearing red, you get Santa's workshop, you get a home address at the North Pole, you get elves in that workshop. All of that comes from that guy, Thomas Nast, making really Christmas a little bit more family friendly.
Whoa, there we go. There's 3 things I've just done. I forgot that it was me on next. I left Andy Daniel in and left myself muted. So I know there's a book being run tonight on timings, on mute. I'm mentioning the word props.
But you're like a walking best man speech, ready to go off at any time.
Absolutely.
I
am invited.
I don't know why I'm still here, but I quite like it. My narcissism kicks in.
I'm invited to these things for entertainment factor. Let's not deny that's how it started. So, weeks, bar mitzvahs, funerals, clearly not my own, anything like that. Invite me along for entertainment. We are there. We're there. Look, we are. Christmas entertainment personified. Andy and Dave, thanks very much for that. I'm just going to drop you out now because
see you later. Bye. See you later.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's ThreeBOD Rugby Group Christmas Live special going out across the globe. And thank you to everybody who has joined us. I want to bring a friend of mine in now. First live act of the night. This is a guy. Here he comes. It is the great Mark Tween. And I'm just going to unmute him so I can't be accused.
Nicely done.
Nicely done. Mark Tween from Tweeny, actually, as he is, from @MarkTweenMusic. Go to @MarkTweenMusic on Facebook. I've got a banner there somewhere. I took the time to do it, so I better sort of find them. There we go. There's a banner running.
Seamless, Joe. Seamless.
Seamless, mate. Absolutely. Everything this was planned, but not at all. Mark Tween, welcome. We work together in the Royal Military Police.
Thank you.
You're an absolutely star guy. What have you been up to? Why have you gone into doing live music, brother?
Well, I've been a musician for years. I used to when we were in the when I was in the RMP with yourself. Used to crack a guitar out at gigs and things at parties. It's during lockdown I started taking to live streaming. Obviously, stopping in pubs and things like that. None of the live music was going ahead, so I took to the internet and started live streaming, and it became very popular. Got a great following, and we had some fantastic fun. It was really good.
Awesome, mate. I think your lights, though, are interfering. You're coming through like a Dalek. You were absolutely fantastic before, and I don't want this to spoil the music. So while it looks good, whatever it is that's going is causing a bit of distortion. Give us a couple of words. So, right, you're just about to go back into playing rugby as well because you're a big rugby fan.
Yes, massive rugby fan, and I haven't played in about 10 years, but next month I'm getting back on pitch and getting back into training. Do you want me to get rid of these lights so they interfere?
It's still causing some interference, mate. So I think that's we didn't have a problem before we did the rehearsal. The only thing we've added is the lights, and whilst they look,
all right,
no, it's good. Tell you what you're going to do, mate, is just please pop out for 20 seconds. There we go. Adapt and overcome. Pop out for 20 seconds, and then pop back in and see whether we can change the sound on you, because it is becoming a bit distorted. So pop yourself out and then hopefully that will be good, and we'll be good to go, mate, for your Christmas song. So just what?
All right, I'll catch you.
Okay, good man. Whilst he's doing that, what I'd like to do is just pop up again. At the beginning of the show, we spoke about Ohana. I'm just running it along the bottom there. Ohana.ie, which is Ohana ZERO Suicide, which is an online 20-minute course which has been set up by the great Sue Carty. Sue is a former rugby player, coach, referee. She's the IRFU's representative on the World Rugby Council. She's just such a nice lady. And she's a psychiatric nurse who gave up so much this year when COVID kicked in Ireland to go and do her main job. And so please go to ohana.ie, it's on the screen at the bottom, and do the 20-minute course. It's about preventing suicide, and it's about all about mental health and being able to reach out to people. So there we have that there. I'm hoping now that we can get Mark Tween back into the studio. 3, 2, 1, like magic. There we go. Tweeny, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Is the sound any better?
No, mate, it's still the same. It's all
I haven't changed anything from earlier, so I don't know what it is.
Oh, mate, I tell you, it's all distorted. Give us a bit of a riff there on the guitar, mate, and see what happens to that.
Is that all right?
That's all distorted, mate. Honestly. Oh. Right, listen, I'm going to ask people what's Mark sounding like? It might be me in the studio. It might be one of those things. Is anybody hearing Mark's distortion, or is it just me and I've had too many Malbecs? How are we doing? So, listen, who do you support, by the way?
I'm an Exeter Chiefs fan, the mighty Exeter Chiefs. So, the reigning champs at the moment, although we've got some trouble in the Champions Cup at the moment with our COVID case last week. So we got a 28-0 defeat, which hasn't helped our chances very much in this new condensed sort of format.
Absolutely. Well, listen, mate, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop you out. We're going to move on. You're going to come back at the end and you're going to give us a song. So what I'll do, I'll get you to drop out, try and we'll have we'll do something on the offline and try and fix that, and we'll get you to come on because your stuff is awesome, kidder. And I don't.
No worries.
And then what we'll do is when we bring you back on at the end, we'll get you to do both songs right at the end. And we'll see whether we can fix it there. It is like no problem. It's what happens, but the guy is after.
It was fine earlier,
and it worked perfectly earlier, like anything. And there's absolutely nothing I can do over this. I'm just going to look at one quick thing on. There we go. Right, try again. Let's see what happens.
All right, how's that?
Oh, as if by
you done it.
I know it's Christmas, but I'm not reborn again. I don't know what I did there actually. I pressed the button.
What did you do?
I looked at your mute settings. I looked at your mic settings, and then when I came back in again, just by looking at them, I'm a genius. I am.
I'll tell you what, this is smooth. This is definitely your call.
Do you like that, dear? Right, here we go. So tell us there we go. It's like, tell us very quickly. I don't know what happened there.
You can write this.
What's the song about, mate, and why?
Okay, so I am currently in self-isolation due to track and trace. I had the app flash up. I had been in contact with somebody who tested positive. So 10 days locked in my house. And so I wrote this song, obviously being in lockdown for Christmas. By the way, I'm fine. I've got no symptoms, but I'm doing as I'm told and spending 10 days at home. So yeah, that was the inspiration. And as soon as I was locked down, I wrote down this song, recorded it, posted it on YouTube and on my Facebook page on the app Mark Tween Music. And yeah, it's gone down a storm, and everyone loves it. So yeah, let's come do it for yourselves.
Brilliant. Okay, so you're going to come back and join us for the end of the show as well. But until then, here is the great Mark Tween from Tweeny from Mark Tween Music with his Christmas COVID song. Take it away, kidder.
Cheers, mate. Try to imagine a message on your phone. Try to imagine They tell you to stay at home. I got this crap from a phone app. The restrictions, they were clear. Now I'm locked up, but I'm messed up, 'cause I haven't any beer. It'll be lonely this Christmas to lock up. I've been told it'll be lonely this Christmas. I don't even have a cold. No, I don't have a cold. But I'll be here on my own this Christmas. Each person that I look at is behind a mask or screen. So I question the phone app as to whom it may have been. Oh, my Bluetooth was enough proof to say how close I'd been. They had a bad chest. They took one test and it said COVID-19. It'll be lonely this Christmas to lock up. I've been told it'll be lonely this Christmas. I don't even have a cold. No, I don't have a cold. But I'll be here on my own this Christmas. It'll be lonely this Christmas to lock up. I've been told it'll be lonely this Christmas. I don't even have a cold. No, I don't have a cold. But I'll be here on my own this Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone, and thanks very much for having me. Happy Christmas, guys. Catch you later.
I want to tell you about Christmas across the globe. Okay, so we know that we have the British Christmas, which is certainly, owes a lot to Charles Dickens. I think we think of the White Christmas, the Snowy Christmas, family, charity, that sort of thing. Also a big old party. That really goes back to the Roman sort of times of Saturnalia, big old work do and all the kind of festivities there. The boss being like the employees being like the boss. It's always been this topsy-turvy thing, which brings us in pantomime dames, cross-dressing, big old parties. That often owes a bit to the Scandinavian Christmas as well, where they dress up as this Yule goat at the end of the year and kind of put all the sins of the world on this Yule goat. And it's a bit like the sacrificial kind of animal thing. Thankfully, they didn't kill them that often. America, Thanksgiving came in really before Christmas, because the Puritans, when they landed in America, they didn't really bring Christmas with them because the Puritans didn't like Christmas. So Thanksgiving came in really before Christmas in America, although obviously Christmas, the older festival. But over there, they got that one first. They've always had that slight separation between, Thanksgiving's when you get the family and the turkey. Christmas is often, your prezzies that maybe you bought in Black Friday sales. And yeah, a different celebration of a different kind, and maybe a bit more churchy stuff involved with the American Christmas. We've kind of thrown them all into one big festival in Britain, but in America, they kind of separate out a little bit more there. Scotland banned Christmas along with the Puritans in the sort of 1600s. Christmas wasn't officially recognised again in Scotland until 1958. It's a long time, isn't it? About 300 years of actually officially no Christmas in Scotland. And of course, another festival snuck in there. Americans stuck in Thanksgiving. Scotland got Hogmanay. Elsewhere in the world, you get all sorts of different things. You get in Germany, of course, they have a lot of evergreens and fires and that sort of thing. We get all of those sorts of ideas from Germany. You get in sort of Russia traditionally and other former communist countries, you wouldn't get Santa Claus or Father Christmas. They wouldn't want to associate with religion. So you often have this kind of old grandfather winter or a sort of character. In Italy, Befana is the name of the lady who brings Christmas presents, and she's actually got a broom, not a broomstick. She's not a witch, but she sweeps up the floors. And the idea was traditionally that Befana, this old lady, was meant to be with the wise men, bringing gifts to the nativity stable, but she missed it and she didn't get to go. And so ever since then, she's sort of been kind of cursed to sweep floors because she just missed out on that chance to go and celebrate the original Christmas. So yeah, that's really Christmas all over the world. Carols, of course, you get, very much Britain was sort of looking after its carols for a very long time. Some carols, of course, came in from America and from Germany as well, and France and other places. But we in Britain have, maybe the last couple of hundred years, we lost our way with carols a bit. About 300 years ago, there was only one legal official carol in the 1700s, while shepherds watched their flocks. That was seen to be the only sort of biblically accurate carol. So, but then in the 1800s, we allowed a few more in, and a lot more carol books were sort of handed out. And so in Britain and in England, in fact, even in the West Country, let's get quite specific, that in Cornwall, there was a big movement to protect the carols, remember them, because they were being passed down through the generations, but many were being forgotten. So one or two people, and actually a Cornish MP back in the 1800s, who thought, I'm going to single-handedly write down all the carols that anyone remembers. I think he got about 8, but it's a start.
There we go. Welcome to part 3 of the Christmas special here on Three Blokes Ball and a Bod. I'm Brandon Smith, one of the hosts of the Welsh Rugby Roundup show, which is a monthly show which looks at everything Welsh. And I'm suddenly feeling a little bit more Christmassy after listening to Mark there play. We'll forgive the shirt choice. We'll forgive that. If he'd worn a Wales shirt or an Irish shirt, I might let him get away with it. But we'll forgive it. It is Christmas time after all. We've got a fantastic host of people coming on to the show now for the next half an hour with myself. We're going to chat about Academy Rugby Ireland. We're going to chat about women's rugby. We're going to chat about the Lions next year. So there's a lot to chat about. So I'm going to welcome my 2 first guests onto the show. They're both from Rugby Academy Ireland, and they're going to chat a little bit about that now. So I'd like to welcome Dan Van Zyl on and Comeen Morris on to the show. Welcome, guys. How are you doing?
Oh, good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Dan, how are you, mate?
Very well, thank you. Trying to get into the Christmas spirit.
I like the Christmas jumper. I like the effort.
Well, it's went out with the family just for probably a last meal before we go back into lockdown. So I had to put it on for the kids.
Absolutely. Well, over here, we've been in lockdown since Saturday night. The First Minister in Wales decided to give us 4 hours notice, and we were straight into full lockdown. But this is not about politics, folks. Let's crack on straight away then with Rugby Academy Ireland. Dan, can you tell me a little bit about it? How did it come about? And what really are you trying to do over in Ireland with young rugby players?
Oh, look, we with Johan Taylor, my partner, and I, we founded it in 2018, August. And so we've been going about 2.5 years, nearly 3 years now. And it's basically for aspiring players that want to try and get into the professional game or just try and enhance their own abilities by coming to us. Rugby being a game where a lot of guys get missed out because of selection or injury at the wrong stage or whatever, and their path is suddenly gone. So we thought there might be a gap in the market, to give guys opportunity at 18 or 19 years of age to get into academy system, being coached the same way or similar program to what they will experience in the big unions, and then see after a year's training age or extra training age where they can end up.
Absolutely. And I think that's so important, isn't it, that players have and are able to have that option to maybe pursue a little bit of a different way than you would traditionally have through the club academies themselves. But 2020 has been a very difficult year for everyone. How's that affected things for you?
Look, massively. Like our intake of last year, our program is supposed to end or runs from September to April every year, in line with a rugby program. And last year we had to finish in February. So the players that was with us missed the last 2 months. And then the players of this year haven't had the opportunity to play any club rugby yet. So it hasn't affected our training and our program as much. But club rugby and the experience of Ireland in that sense is what it's about. Some of them don't think Ireland is a great place, which we all know that it is. But it's just their experience. They haven't been able to mix with club players and to experience Ireland for what it is. So I think that's been a negative. But the program itself, we've tried our best to keep running it and as best we can.
Definitely. COVID's affected everything, hasn't it? And it will continue to affect things as well. Now, I've been asked by Joe to ask how to pronounce your name, because I'm not very good. I'm Welsh, so we're close. We're close in some terms. We've got that Celtic blood, but I'm not quite there yet. Can you help us out?
No worries. I mean, you can pronounce it a couple of ways as well in Irish. So it's Kiva.
Kiva, okay.
Yeah, Kiva.
Now I know. Now I know as well.
I remind Dan like every week, but we're getting there.
No worries at all. So I wanted to know a bit about your role at Rugby Academy Ireland. What do you do over there?
Yeah, so I just came on board over the summer. I'm the women's coordinator with the academy. So I guess it's a bit of a mix of a role at the moment with COVID and everything. But it's sort of kind of organising the women's portion of it, looking to host events or camps and clinics and that kind of thing with a female focus. A lot of the time at the moment spent coaching, a lot of admin. We've a few events coming up, like the 20s program that we launched there in October. So it's been a busy time even with COVID.
Absolutely. And I'm quite interested to know what the state of women's rugby is over in Ireland, because here in Wales we had quite a disappointing Six Nations, but a lot of young girls coming through and playing. What's the situation over in Ireland for you guys?
Yeah, look, obviously COVID's put a bit of a spanner in the works for everybody, and I think any of the girls that come down to any of our camps or anything, they really miss just playing and training and rugby and everything. But I guess, like in a broad sense, rugby, I'd say it's pretty similar to what you guys have over in Wales. It's still unprofessional, still amateur. Hoping that changes soon, but we know in the past, I think 2 years, more Irish females have taken up rugby than boys have. So like it's a massive industry. It's really growing in popularity recently in the last few years. A lot of campaigns to sort of help push that, which is great to see. There's loads of girls who are really passionate about it, who really want to be involved at a really high level, like any other kid, they want to play for their country, play for the province. There's just not that structure there yet. There's not that talent development pathway there yet as on a national level or even at a provincial level. So we're lucky enough to be in a position where we can offer that to girls who do have those dreams, in the hopes that that they can go on and play professional rugby or at least play sort of interprovincial or international rugby. I think look, it's changing for the better. There's a lot more chat about the need for professional rugby in Ireland, and I think internationally, so it's only going to get better.
Absolutely. And what's the process of that going to be like for you guys looking to 2021? How are you looking to grow women's rugby and also grow the academy in general to reach more people if possible? Yeah, look, from a women's point of view, as I mentioned, there's not really that talent development pathway. So, it's brilliant that Dan and Johan set this up with women in mind when they founded it, that they've had some excellent people involved, to sort of give female rugby players that chance to actually grow their game. I think, a couple of the big things that we were looking to bring in was a women's under-20s team, which is, it's not something that exists at the moment in Ireland, which, it's a bit of an issue here, unfortunately, that girls will graduate from under-18 rugby into senior rugby. And it's this big jump in physicality and game knowledge and game experience. And unfortunately, you lose an awful lot of players to that transition. So a big thing that we wanted to bring in was the women's under-20s team, which, we were delighted to host the first trial session over the weekend safely, of course. But, that's a massive thing that we had almost 100 people apply to be part of, a 23-person squad. So, look, it's the hunger is out there for, young adults, young girls who want to go on and be the best that they can be in rugby. And
we're lucky enough to be able to provide that opportunity. So I think that's sort of where we're looking to head next year as well. Just keep pushing this team. Hopefully get a few girls onto the academy full-time or part-time after that. Plan is, hopefully, if we can, we'll head over and play an international match somewhere. COVID depending. If COVID plays ball, that would be a great thing.
Absolutely. And yeah, COVID depending is everything at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dan, just before we show a quick video of the women's under-20s, tell me a bit about the plans for next year with Rugby Academy Ireland. What you're hoping to achieve for you guys?
Well, the first plan is regarding what you said there, is maybe Wales will do better in the Women's Six Nations if a couple of girls come over to Rugby Academy Ireland, and experience club rugby over here. But no, our plans are pretty much the same. Our target market is obviously Irish, but the Irish academies are very well looked after. But there is some very good players that don't get picked in that. And then it's also the tier 2 nations, trying to get the best Belgium guy, Denmark guy, those nations that don't have academies or national pathways and so on, to get them to come and experience, play at a higher level in Ireland, and do our program where they qualify as a strength and conditioning coach through ITEC. We've got our own education college now as well. So it's not just about rugby, it's more holistic approach and trying to improve people's lifestyle skills and so on as well. But hopefully we can start in September with a new intake and have a full season of rugby. We've been invited to a 7th tournament out in Mauritius. Come September, so hopefully we can do that, because I was there 24 years ago on my honeymoon, so it will be nice to go there again.
Mauritius does sound very nice, especially with it absolutely tipping down outside. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. And if anyone wants to check out Rugby Academy Ireland, where can they check it out?
They can visit our website, www.rugbyacademyireland.ie, or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram anytime, and then get personal message myself or EQUIV or Johan, and we get in touch as soon as we can, because we are open for applications for the 2021-22 season at the moment.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, EQUIV. Have a lovely Christmas. And Joe, please run that video for the women's under-20s. There we go. That's a little bit about the Irish women's under-20 side. And thank you once again to EQUIV and to Dan for their time, and check them out as well on their socials. We're now going to move on to talk a little bit more about next year and the hopes for next year. It's a new year. Hopefully we'll be able to see some rugby. Some of you may have been able to see your team in restricted numbers and things like that. Unfortunately for myself, I've not had the opportunity. But 2021, as I said, is a new year, and I'm delighted to welcome two fantastic guests to chat just about that with me. Now it's Louis Bollard and Martin Buggy. Here they are jumping into the studio now. Martin is in. Martin, how are you doing?
I hope you're hearing me okay. I've been having a few technical difficulties here. So yeah, no, I'm doing fine. Like everybody else, we're just coping with COVID, and that's it. Just the main thing is to stay safe.
Absolutely, that's what everyone's trying to do, isn't it? And, 2020 has been a strange year for rugby. What's your experience been like this year? I assume not many games for yourself.
Sorry, I didn't quite hear you there, Brandon. As I said, I'm having a bit of trouble with the sound.
That's fine, no worries.
Looking forward. Yeah, just hopefully looking forward to getting back and seeing maybe some light at some stage, and very much looking forward to.
Well, I'm not sure if Martin can still hear me, but the British and Irish Lions, of course, is the big thing next year in the world of rugby. And Martin, if you can hear me, tell me a little bit about why you're such a big fan of the Lions.
To the addition of the South African teams into the over for the Lion game.
Can you hear me, Martin? We have St. Nick Claus has arrived.
I'm not hearing you well there, Brandon.
If I could send Martin a new router for his internet, I think we'd all be sorted, don't you?
What have you got to say to us, St. Nick Claus? What have you got to say to us on 2 days to go until Christmas? What's your message for all of us watching for the rugby family?
Well, first of all, make sure your teams are always through the gate. Make sure they're never offside and you'll stay on the nice list. And make sure clear outs stay clean as well. Few issues with those over the weekend, huh? Other than that, I think everyone just needs to keep positive. Naturally, it's all been very difficult this year, and none of us have seen an awful lot of rugby. Here in the North Pole, all we get is the televised stuff, nothing live. But I know where you all are, you get to go and see your teams regularly, but there's been none of that this year. So hopefully we get more live rugby next year and spectators being allowed to go and see it. I'm not sure why at things like club level, there can't be a ticketed system to allow 50 or 60 people to come and cheer on your local club when it comes back in January, but those are the rules, so we have to stick with them, eh?
Absolutely, we do. Thank you for that message. I think now Louis is ready to join us, so he's going to jump in as well. We're going to welcome Louis in here. Louis, you came up with a fantastic idea of play away, stay away. Can you tell me a little bit about how that came about and what you're trying to do?
Yeah, sure, Brandon. Thanks for having me in. So play away, stay away is like all kind of like good business ideas, a very simple concept. It's essentially an exchange community for sports supporters and for rugby supporters in particular. So the concept is for your away games. So if you're, let's just say, an Exeter Chiefs fan or a Leinster fan, when you go to a Champions Cup match or even domestic rugby in the Premiership and what have you, or the Pro 14, that you'd stay with a fan on your away trip, with the idea of them then being able to stay with you or one of our other members on their own away trips. So a bit like the famous kind of Adopt a Lions campaign from New Zealand in 2017. That's what partly inspired the idea. And yeah, that's it in a nutshell, Brandon.
Yeah, and 2020, as I've said a few times already, has really shaken things up. And, I'm sure people have not been able to attend games as much as they'd like to. I mean, it's very frustrating as an Ospreys fan because when I could go see them last season, we didn't win at home all season. We scraped draws here and there. And now this season, we're doing all right, but I can't go see them. So it doesn't make any sense. So there we go. 2021, though, is the big year, isn't it, with rugby now? The South Africa Lions Tour, that's the big thing. Of course, we've just had the announcement today about the Rainbow Cup with the Pro 14. So some people may be thinking about, okay, how can I travel about these teams and see these teams play? What are your plans coming up over the next 9 months or so?
Yeah, so the Lions Tour was a big focus for us. So just trying to do a campaign really to get South African hosts signed up for the Lions Tour next year. It's free for them to sign up and they just kind of get that experience to host a travelling Lions fan. And let's be honest, they might well win the tour. So what could be better than hosting a travelling Lions fan when the Springboks on home territory and welcome them in. But obviously, as you say, kind of today's announcement regarding the coronavirus and the pandemic and stuff has kind of thrown a little bit of a spanner in the works, but we're still hopeful. We're still, I'm a positive person by nature, really. So I'm still hoping that it'll go ahead with fans as well. So I have kind of, let's say, scaled down the campaign on the Lions tour just to almost cover my own back a little bit as well. But yeah, that's a big thing. But the main thing for me, I think the premise and the concept is longer than just a kind of short-term one-off tournament. So even if it doesn't go ahead as planned for next summer, looking further afield, as you say, into the Rainbow Cup and the Six Nations is another opportunity for us. And especially with the talk of the kind of globalized league and stuff like that. And South Africa even talk of them joining the Six Nations as well. So all those kind of international cross-country tournaments, I think, all feed into the concept. So there's lots of plans, there's lots of opportunities for growth, as you can imagine. It's just about kind of focusing on the right ones, and obviously alongside the pandemic. I'm also doing an MBA down in Bath, which is another big rugby city, as you know. So yeah, it's a big kind of lots of things to keep me entertained and keep me get my teeth stuck into, really.
Absolutely. Say, Nick Claus, do you fancy a little trip down to watch the Lions, or will you be busy up in the North Pole by then?
Well, the middle of the summer is never too busy for me, so I certainly wouldn't mind a little visit down there. I wouldn't mind seeing any live rugby at this stage. I'd even go and watch Ospreys.
I mean, this season's all right. The last season was, it was bad. We were losing. It was bad. You know, people would ask me, who do you support? I'd be like, Ospreys. They'd be like, what? Didn't quite catch that. I'd be like, Ospreys. I'd be like, I didn't quite catch that. So it was very, very frustrating. Obviously, the Lions, as I said, it is the big thing. What are your predictions for the tournament? Are you excited for it? Do you think we have a chance? We'll go to Luke first of all, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Springboks got a good side, current world champions, so they'll want to kind of show that. And the Lions Tour is always a competitive rugby, which is, I think, why everybody on both sides really enjoys it here, and why the Australians and the Kiwis also enjoy it. So I'm going to go a narrow Lions victory. As I said, I'm an optimist, and I think they can do it.
Nick Claus, do you think any Scots will get into the team, or will it be 13 Welshmen in the team again?
I'm not sure how high up the nice list a Scotsman will have to be to make it onto the Lions tour. But, well, one never knows. I mean, Stuart Hogg might travel, not play, but he might travel. And other than that, I'm not entirely sure any Scotsman will get to be there. Maybe Richie Gray, if he keeps being a good boy.
Absolutely. Let's hope so.
Keeping in mind that everyone keeps saying, Springboks undefeated in 2020, but so are the Lions, so it's not entirely balanced, really.
No, definitely not. Hey, no, that we're unbeaten, so we're all good. One last question before we move on. What are your hopes for 2020 for rugby in general? Let's come to Louis first.
Well, obviously, from a personal interest and also a rugby interest, I really want that Lions Tour to go ahead as planned with the supporters. There's nothing really kind of like the camaraderie of a Lions Tour and the fans and just the experience of it all on top of the rugby, really. So that's the main thing I want to see. Where we are now with it, I mean, I'll take it if it goes ahead with even a small, well, not small, but let's say semi-capacity stadiums. Similarly with the Six Nations, I think as a whole, I can almost speak for everyone. We just want to see some decent rugby and with supporters back at grounds. I mean, we're a supporter community, so that's the main thing that we obviously rely on. We love to see is and you know yourself and probably St. Nicholas when he gets his elves, let him have the weekend off. There's nothing quite like the whole pub atmosphere before and after the game and the milling around and all the rest of it that goes on game day.
Absolutely. And St. Nick Claus, what about you?
I wholeheartedly agree with Lou. Lots of fans back at games, or at least as many as it's safe to have back at games, because we don't want overcrowded stadia or overcrowded pubs. But fans back, this fake tinned noise is it's inaccurate. It never quite gives the same banter as a good fan sitting in the stands who, after 30 seconds, I know one good boy, Gavin Hegarty, and after 30 seconds, the first penalty, he'll immediately shout, "Ref, he's been at it all day." And, you don't get that with tinned noise. You want real fans, real support, and hopefully that's what we get in 2021.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. Have a very Merry Christmas. Louis, where can people find more about what you do?
Yeah, so the website is Pazza Rugby, www.pazzarugby.com. I've got it up on my TV screen for you, actually, so I'll give you a quick, I'm not sure how visible that is, but that's just the homepage there. So if you see that, then it'll you'll know you're on the right page. And on Facebook, it's Play Away, Stay Away. Facebook and Instagram, it's Play Away, Stay Away. Have a little look at there. With the current circumstances, I know there's absolutely no pressure on people to sign up, and I'm not after that. I just kind of want to raise the profile of what I'm trying to do and help supporters everywhere, really, for when the games are back on. So
brilliant, yeah. And we look forward to the Six Nations. Just before you go, then, St. Nick Claus, final message for those watching.
I hope you all stay very good for these last 2 days. I'll see you all tomorrow night. None of you will see me. You'll all be fast asleep. And, of course, have a happy and peaceful Christmas. As much as you can, enjoy time with family. And here's to some great rugby in 2021.
Absolutely. Let's look forward to it. Thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Have a good Christmas.
Thank you very much to them too there. Make sure to be behaving over the next 2 days because St. Nick is watching. We're now going to welcome two guests in, one which we know very, very well, and the other part of the Welsh Rugby Roundup show. And first of all, going to welcome Rhian into the studio. Rhian's going to jump in. The Welsh Rugby guest is here, looking very, very Christmassy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm the dog.
I'm the dog as well. How are you doing?
He's falling asleep though. He's having a... I think he's been drinking my gin.
Oh, of course. That's why the gin's gone down, hasn't it? Because he's been drinking it. It's not you, is it?
No. And I've got my WRU Father Christmas.
There we go. Hey, I always thought Santa was Welsh. I always believed he was Welsh. And yeah, how are you doing with lockdown and things like that now?
Oh, I've had enough.
Yeah.
Maybe now, watching you tonight, missing live rugby, and it's it was one thing being in lockdown during the summer, but at the moment it's really hard, isn't it? And I think it's hard, and it was really good that there was a section earlier on mental health because it gets to us all, and it is, I'm trying to look positive in the fact we've had the shortest day, so actually we're on the way to spring. But as you know, Brandon, in Wales we've got this new variant of COVID, so we're in tier 4, and it's for the foreseeable future. But hopefully now with spring, everything else starts to fall in place, and the vaccination rolls out, and maybe we can have some rugby.
Absolutely, definitely. And as Rhian said, one of the big things will be mental health. And if people are struggling, there is always people to talk to. Make sure that you do that. You look after yourself and you stay with loved ones this Christmas as much as possible, obviously, if it's safe. We're now going to welcome a second guest in. Really excited for this one. I've had her on my channel myself, and she's been here on Three Blokes Ball and a Bod before. It's Debbie Knight from Sporting Days 365. How are you doing? Welcome along.
Hello, I'm very good, thank you. Nice to be here. Hi, Rhian.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good, I'm fine.
All set for Christmas?
Yeah, as much as I can be. I'm lucky that I can actually spend it with my grandson. So rather than be on my own, I can spend the day with some little boys. So that's great fun. Yeah, I am.
It makes it a bit more exciting, doesn't it? I've had my nephew for one Christmas. It was exciting until he woke me up at 4 a.m. telling me it was Christmas Day. So
I'm going to stay in my house. Then I'll go to their house.
Go there at a reasonable time. Debs, tell us a little bit about what you do about 365 Sporting Days for those who may not know. Tell us a little bit about it.
What do I do? I spend most of my life watching sport. So in the winter, I watch rugby union. In the summer, I watch cricket and some rugby league when I can fit it in. And I write about it and take photographs, basically. So this year has been unreal for me. I had so much sport planned. And obviously not being able to get there has been really hard. I live on my own. And actually, I find going to sport on my own, people will always talk to you when you're on your own, actually, wherever you go, but particularly at sport. So obviously missed out on that completely. I'm quite a big theatre goer as well. But you can probably, I'm not at home very often. So it's been quite strange being in my home. But I now have a garden rather than a jungle, what I had before this started. And I'm someone that looks for the positives of things, really. I listen to music, I read books. I haven't been mad about watching all the catch-up stuff with sport, but I've very much enjoyed the live sport that's been on. I've been lucky in that the cricket was obviously on in the summer, and then and my team Saracens are obviously not in the European rugby this year. But there's the cat. I love European rugby weekends, so that's been fantastic the last couple of weekends.
Definitely, and it's so good that rugby is still going ahead. Of course, in Wales, as Rhian will know, we've got the Welsh derbies coming up on Boxing Day. Really looking forward to them. They're always a lot of passion there. But I think the big issue this year, of course, is there's not going to be any fans there. How do you see that affecting clubs, especially in Wales, Rhian, where on Boxing Day, Rodney Parade would be sold out, Parc y Scarlets would be sold out?
Yeah, I was going to say that's probably one of the one days and Judgment Day where it is actually a sellout, when that Welsh rugby hasn't or Welsh regional rugby hasn't got the best of supporters, travelling fans or supporters. But yes, Boxing Day would be. It is a great crack. Having been there a few times, it's great fun. The teams rise to the occasion. It's always, brilliant being in the Millennium, or Principality it's called nowadays. But yeah, I think it's good. It'll be different, won't it? And it's hard to see that sort of rivalry bubbling over when it's just players who many of them play together for Wales, etc., who having to put their regional hats on. But I'm sure it'll be a good day. It's a good way to sort of get over Christmas Day, isn't it? Sit down and do nothing.
Sounds pretty good to me. Just before, of course, we were talking about the Lions next year and the expectations out of 2021. Debs, what are your expectations for next year? What are you hoping to see happen within rugby, and for yourself, of course?
I'd like to see a more entertaining rugby played by England in particular. I'm not a fan of let's win and play awful rugby at times. Obviously, for my club, Saracens, I'd like to see them do what they need to do to get back into the Premiership. I'm quite concerned that they're going to close the Premiership for next season, although I don't think they can do that without Saracens being a part of it. And actually, on a different, I'm looking forward to the Rugby League World Cup, which takes place here next year. I've got my ticket for the final already. So I'm hoping that by October, November time that we can actually, absolutely. Yeah. Fingers crossed. And hopefully a summer of cricket too.
Yeah, and we just want to see sport back, and hopefully, people can start to go back to see games and do it in a safe way. And because some areas of England are in different tiers of different lockdowns. I know the Bath game was cancelled because of COVID once again, which is very, very frustrating. Rhian, we don't have much time, but what are your hopes for 2021 from a Wales perspective first, and then from a rugby perspective as well?
Well, I think I'm hoping we've hit bottom now, and the only way is up. It's going to be interesting. The next, they finished on a high, albeit against, sort of not brilliant competition. But I think that we'll probably hit the bottom, start we could see glimpses of where Pivac wanted to go. He seems to have ridden out the autumn, sort of international or Nations Cup storm. So it's Six Nations now, and who knows? That's the absolute joy of the Six Nations. I know some people in the Southern Hemisphere say, "Oh, well, England's going to win the Six Nations but you don't. It doesn't matter. Anyone can win. It's that's the joy. Whatever happens the week before, it's that the game on Saturday is the one that counts. And as I said, that's the joy. That's why I love it, and that's something I'm really looking forward to. And I'm really looking forward to Wales doing better than they have been.
Let's hope. Well, we've got a lot of good young players coming through. I am aware of time. So, Debs, where can people find a bit more about what you do?
So my site's 365 Sporting Days, but you can find me on Twitter, Debs KNIG, the beginning of my name.
Perfect. And of course, me and Rhian, we do the Welsh Rugby Roundup show. Usually it's the first Monday of the month, if I'm correct in thinking, where we cover everything to do with Welsh Rugby. Thank you so much, guys, for jumping in and chatting quickly with me. Hope you have a wonderful Christmas. And if you've been behaving, you'll be okay. But if you've been bad, then I don't know. But have a wonderful Christmas, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brandon.
See you later.
Bye.
There we go. Thank you to them, guys. We're now going to hear a little bit more about the history of Christmas with Paul Krenzer once again. So, Joe, we'll roll the video.
Christmas. Now, I've written a play actually called Three Wise Men. Put it on over Christmas online. You might find it if you Google Three Wise Men, Paul Krenzer. And it's about three people, the three wise men of Christmas. Charles Dickens, Washington Irving, you may or may not have heard of, an American writer, really the world's first best-selling author. And he came out with Sleepy Hollow and Rip Van Winkle, but he also really gave us the Santa Claus. He started spreading the Santa Claus stories and also actually sold back to the English the idea of a cozy, warm, fireside, snowy family, board games and feasting kind of Christmas. And he inspired Charles Dickens. The Three Wise Men of Christmas, as I see it, is Prince Albert. Because, of course, he was German, married Queen Victoria, but brought over lots of those German customs, popularising Christmas trees in England, and also kind of paper crafts, reds and greens, bringing us those kind of Christmas colours. Advent calendars, of course, we got. He liked ice skating, so we all started doing a bit of ice skating back then. Loads of the Christmas markets, Stollen, gingerbread, all of that stuff comes from the very fashionable at the time, cultural Germanic Christmas. So I think Dickens, Washington Irving and Prince Albert, they are the big three as far as I'm concerned. The Victorian Christmas, of course, you also get charity comes in. Really, Dickens and A Christmas Carol did a lot to help that. There were tales at the time of rather miserly Scrooge-like factory owners who didn't give people Christmas Day off, or maybe give them one day off if they were lucky. They would read A Christmas Carol, though, and be inspired to buy a turkey for all of their employees at the factory. That sort of thing was happening back then. It was one of the rare books, people said at the time, that could actually make you a better person by reading it. So if you've not read A Christmas Carol or not seen a version of it for some time, I recommend it to you. I mean, it's the best. It's the best of all things, isn't it? A Christmas Carol? I think it is. So charity starts to come in a lot more. Queen Victoria was inspired to send more blankets and foodstuffs to the poor who really needed it. You get the big resurgence of things like the Salvation Army come in, so the late 1800s, giving out more things. That link between charity and Christmas is certainly there. Also, family and Christmas, I think, comes in a lot more then as well. Because before that, before Dickens, Christmas was often either a bawdy celebration in the street, bit of a street party, or a thing you do at work. It was like a workplace celebration, handing gifts between employer and employee. And you do some family things, but it really wasn't this child-centred thing that it is today. So in Britain, you got the Dickensy stuff, but in America, Washington Irving, like I said, was spreading these Santa Claus stories, inspired the other writer, Clement Clarke Moore, to write 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. But then from there, you get the resurgence of the department store, the Christmas grotto, the in-store Santa, stockings becoming a thing. I mean, not only in the old days, stockings were a sock. You literally put an orange in a sock. Then suddenly it was like, well, no, let's make a present and we'll wrap it in wrapping paper that you have to buy and wrap it all that in a stocking, which you also have to buy. So this idea of buying comes in then. So, hey, I wouldn't dream.
And there you go. He wouldn't dream of promoting himself, but I will. That's the great Paul Carenza, UK comedian there, who wrote the biography of Christmas. Here's Bod. Look, it's Santa Bod. He's had some nibbles and he's had some treats. But go to have a look online for Paul Carenza, Kerensa. He's a UK comedian who wrote the comedy series Not Going Out, wrote for Miranda, and he wrote a whole pile of other things. Stand-up comedian in his own right. Is an author, and he wrote Hark, the biography of Christmas, which is available on Audible. And also go and Google Paul Carenza, Three Wise Men, where he talks about the Three Wise Men, which is Prince Albert, Washington Irving, and our good friend, Mr. Dickens. His bod. I just wanted to say a quick hello. There we go, mate. You've had some treats. Look, he's looking very resplendent in his Santa stuff. Off you go, mate. Well done. Excellent stuff. I personally have got some Christmas stuff here, and I've got a nice little Baileys that the Mrs. Claus Gillian has just brought up for me, and oh, no, knocked it over there. And now we are going to bring in two very, very, very special people. We're going to bring in Vicky Warwick, and I'm going to take the mute off so I don't get the blame, because I get the blame. And Philip, we're going to bring in Philip as well. And they are, lads, welcome to the show. They are from the fantastic, I've just spilled Baileys on my hand. They are from the fantastic, they are the premier Irish a cappella group, Ardu. There are 6 of them. Not a EQUIV anyway. We're great to have you on the show, lads. And how has it been? Tell us about Vicky. Tell us off, Vicky Warwick. Tell us about Ardu, how it came about, and what you do, and the new album. Tell us about that to start with.
Okay, so we are a 6-piece vocal band, and we're based in Dublin. And we call ourselves a vocal band because we are not the typical a cappella group. We've sort of moved away from what you might perceive that genre to be, and just generally made ourselves a little bit more cool. So yes, we're a six voice a cappella band, and we're based in Dublin, and we've been around for about 6 or 7 years now. I'm one of the original members, and Philip joined us about 3 years ago. And we have had a rather interesting year. And we also, yes, we have released a live album. We released a live album, which was a recording, and we filmed it and we recorded it during the summer in the kind of lull between lockdowns, up in the Glassworks, which is a venue in Derry. And that was really exciting for us to actually to have the opportunity to perform in any way, even though there was no audience. But there we made a live album off the back of it. So, yeah.
Brilliant. And Philip, tell us a little bit about, pronounce your surname for us first of all, and then tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into singing with such a phenomenal band as Ardu.
Yeah, so hi, my full name is Filip Klubička. It's actually a Czech surname, but I'm actually Croatian. So I moved to Ireland about 3 years ago, and I was very sort of musically inclined and active back home, and I just wanted to continue singing when I moved here. So one of the first things that I sort of tried to do, like I was looking for accommodation, I moved to Dublin, and I was like, oh, also I'm looking for a group to sing with. And I really just Googled like Dublin a cappella, and Ardu came out. And I emailed the guys, and I auditioned for the group, and the rest is history. I've been with the group for 3 years. I've really been living it. It's been quite a ride. So having released, this is actually the second album that Ardu has released since I've been in the group. So definitely not what I expected when I joined. Definitely a bit of an overachieving bunch releasing a live album in 2020. It's not just anything, right?
Oh, that's absolutely superb, guys. I'm just going to put a quick sort of housekeeping message out. We are running a little bit over, as is all want with this show. I'm allowed a set of people in the studio. I'm stacked up So as you can probably hear, I was like producing and directing as well, and I was screaming down the stairs for Bod, who didn't want to come and play. But people sent me messages saying, "Where's Bod? Where's Bod?" I've got 5 WhatsApp groups for the different segments of the show. People send me messages saying, "No, should I come back in?" We're 15 minutes over, lads. So Andy, Daniel, if I kick you from the show from the waiting area like this for the 9th time, don't try and come back in, mate, because you're too early. Come, just put another 10 minutes behind it, and we'll all be grand, lads. Look, what Christmas behind us. We've got we're going to hear a great song from them now. So bit of public housekeeping. Thanks very much for sort of bearing with us as you do. Right, what determines, Vicky, the type of music that really is best suited to a cappella, or is it anything? What do you lads pick, and why?
Well, we have actually been on quite a journey from the origin of our do. We used to kind of sing what arrangements we kind of came across. We modeled ourselves a little bit on a group called Pentatonics, who are very famous in America. But in recent times, and we have actually had this growth period during lockdown, where we've been able to be a bit more introspective on our sound, and kind of really see what we want to do and what makes us feel most creative. So our director, Kieran Kelly, he arranges all of our stuff for us now, which is an absolute gift as 6 musicians, really, because it's written for us in mind. But we generally cover songs. And during lockdown, we covered things like some hosier pieces, right up to more folk stuff like Fergus. So really anything, but we have become a little bit more unique in our output these days.
Superb. And what's your background in music, Philip? Are you sort of traditionally trained, or how do you find, like, we're going to listen to, we've got a video of Craicing Xmas. Well, I know we had 2, and it's a Christmas show and everything like that, but it is my gift to promote which one I want. And Jesus, I'm a soft spot for Craicing Xmas. But Philip, what about yourself? I mean, what determines for you the style of music that you want to be doing with Arju?
I guess it's so the thing with Ardu is we all come from such very different backgrounds. We have some people in the group are classically trained, some have a more contemporary music background. And I personally am not actually professionally trained at all. I've just been doing it all my life. I've sang in choirs and bands and in groups quite a lot back in Croatia. And I guess I just kind of had the experience, but my background would be more sort of pop rock kind of thing. But I think that sort of difference in the blend of different voices in the group gives us a really interesting edge that, because we can explore many more genres than maybe a group where everyone has the same background would be able to. But then again, I do really enjoy singing anything. Like, it's just about the expression and the music for me. Whatever we pick is fine.
So tell us briefly, in fact, actually, Vicky, if I don't do this, I'll get in trouble. I worked with your mother many years ago. Absolutely lovely lady. So if I don't give a call out, a shout out to the great Maureen Morrick, then she'll never speak to me again. But she did actually put me in touch with you, and it was fab. So Maureen, thank you. I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas.
I'll come tomorrow.
Absolutely. Actually, we've got a couple of questions there. Kieran Kelly, what does Arju mean? A bit of a loaded question there, actually. Somebody else before, but Kieran Kelly, would that be the same Kieran Kelly that produces all of your stuff?
Yeah.
There's always a good bit of promotion there, isn't there? And then we've got Nigel Quigley, White Walker One, who will be on shortly. Bear with me, Nigel. Bear with me. You keep getting kicked out of the studio. That Arju, that accent, Gil, where you from? So Nigel's obviously in North. So tell them where you're from, mate.
Me, I'm from Northern Ireland, so I'm from Lisburn, which is quite close to Belfast. Yeah, Philip's a little bit more interesting than me from Croatia.
It's all we love up north. We love up north. And so anyway, back to Kieran. Like unceremoniously, they're sort of plumped twice. What a great question. So, what does Ardu mean, lads?
So yeah, Ardu means to rise or raise up and inspire, and it's a bit of a reflection on some of our education projects that we've done, and also just we like to inspire through our music.
Superb. And as if by magic, you've actually got. Let me just stick that on full. There is actually, if you go to Ardu Music, isn't it? I haven't got my gigs on now.
Yep.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? rdmusic.com. A big shop /shop, and you've got everything that you need to do there, and you can buy the latest album. And I tell you what, lads, and actually you can listen to some of their stuff, and you can book them. There we go. You can look at the members there. You can actually, if that comes up, it's going to take a bit of time. Oh no, we better stop that there. But go to rdumusic.com. And you can actually buy the new album. What's the new album called?
It's called Live.
See, we love the simplicity of what people like yourselves do. I know it's a bit fast and furious, and we're going to get you back on a special show at some point next year when we look at sort of music and lifestyle and helping people through COVID. We hope that helping you promote your new album Live from Ardu a little bit. Vicky Warwick and Philip, you've been most welcome to the show, and I know you're going to leave us, but we're going to play one of my favorite songs of all time by Ardu. It's called Carrick Fergus. Have a great Christmas, lads.
Thanks so much for having us. Happy Christmas to everyone.
That's a shock. That's a big shock. I was busy doing a dance. Welcome to part 6. I was singing along with Ardu, who have done more for Carrickfergus, the Northern Ireland Tourist Board, in the last decade. So absolutely brilliant. And it is for your own safety that they did the singing tonight and not myself. Yeah, I've been thrown in the deep end here, trouserless, welcoming you to part 6. So we have many guests here on my list, but firstly and most importantly, hopefully my outfit doesn't clash with anyone who's coming on. Hope everyone's safe and well. Cheers to Joe for running the show so far. We may see your beautiful face popping up again from time to time, but Joe and I do a Monday show about grassroots rugby. Kind of bringing stories of our local clubs into everyone's living rooms or wherever you watch this. And this is what we're going to be talking about here in part 6. We are spanning the globe. We have royalty from various parts of this piece of green earth. I'd also like to say, before I introduce everyone, I'm not making a hostage video here. I know it does look a bit like that, but I promise you everything is fine. Joe has told me to tell you everything is fine. So we're going to hit the intros now. Joe hasn't stopped me yet. I don't know. I can see the chat going on the side of the screen here, but I'm in the zone. So we'll get the intros going and we'll see if anyone's here or if you're stuck with me for the next, I don't know, we're running a bit over, so the next 12 hours or so. So let's start from the top. We're going to venture from over to Greece. Okay? Is that okay, Joe?
Yeah.
What the hell's going on?
Hello.
Hello. How is everybody doing? We don't know who's in the waiting room and who isn't and who may be and who has just ignored me for the whole evening. How are you guys?
We're great. Finally, everything's great. What a great show.
Absolutely. We're here to save the show, guys. So no pressure, okay? No problem at all. And thankfully, we're not clashing, which is really, really important. So well done, guys. I salute the beautiful headwear. Now, I'll be totally honest now. Joe is just throwing people into the show at this stage. I don't know who's coming on next. So, Joe, this is a bit like blind date. We have the King of Gibraltar coming in here. He's muted me already. We've got King Richard. How are you, sir?
Hi, Kigo. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Hopefully everyone is safe and well and happy during Christmas time. It's over here. It's a tricky one, as I'm sure everyone is. It's the same for everybody. So we've all just got to drink and get on with it. Everyone's nearly finished work for the festive season, I suppose. Now, this is where we dip our toes into the water again. We're going to scream at Joe and see if anyone else is popping in. Oh, Brendan is in the house. How are you?
Hi, Chico. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
We've got a full house in part 6 here, which is really, really important. Now, I don't know if everything is going to work because Joe is working the controls like Steven Spielberg back there. He's just not telling anyone. So, Joe, I don't have you in my ear. Do we have anyone else joining us?
Yes, we do.
Should be one. Yeah, we have me.
Oh, Joe's coming in.
Yay! Didn't expect that. We have that because I have now got 97 missed messages from the 5 WhatsApp groups, the 6 WhatsApp group now, and telling people. So, Penny, if you're watching, you're in the studio, but I've got no picture for you. So I'm going to drop out as soon as the great Penny Mitzi from Greece comes in. Then I will add her in. Until then, you've got Yanni and Eleni, you've got Brendan, and you've got Richie Mifsud. So that's enough he's been going on with. The great Kigo, off you go.
There you go. He just says stuff and then leaves me alone. It's like when your parents used to leave you in a shop, you know what I mean? And while they went off and did fun stuff. But we all met kind of through the grassroots. Obviously, Rich, I've known you a long time. Where we kind of got together and spoke about ideas of what we're doing, how we're dealing with, COVID and all that sort of stuff. And I guess just to update everyone, since we all had a chat the last time, how has the journey of keeping people interested, which I think is the key, keeping people fit, and just keep, because that's a big problem if we're being honest. There's too much Netflix and too much cheap beer to buy in Tesco. So how have you guys been managing that in terms of, like, Brendan, for yourself? You were working hard and telling us about that last time, but how have you kept people engaged?
It's really difficult over here in Germany because, like everywhere else, you're fighting with COVID restrictions. Within our region here, it's not too bad. I would say compared to a lot of other countries, we can do some level of fitness, but we can't do group training or anything like that. So. Yeah, it's difficult. Round what we know, COVID lockdown 2 or 3. It's a challenge, but it gives you opportunity and time to focus on, the other bits and pieces going on in your rugby club. So for us, it's really setting the foundations of our social media platforms, getting the right people in the right place for when we get going again, and then just chatting to people about, ideas for 2021 and just linking up and creating new partnerships. So I'd say that the biggest part really is trying to keep your guys motivated to do fitness in their own time, but setting a few goals, even if those goals are unachievable by February or March, give someone something for people to aim for. I don't know if you can see it's a German Sevens signed jersey and an Oktoberfest rugby ball that we got given from the Deutsche Rugby Verband as a sort of giveaway prize to give our sort of guys a little bit of motivation and get a few people more enthused in rugby here in Germany. So that's what we're just going down that sort of route at the moment, really.
Yeah, it is an absolutely crazy time. And in terms of you guys over in Greece, how does I'm on Instagram following Penny and following everybody and getting motivated by the training that is still going on. But have you guys struggled to keep the heads in the game, so to speak, or has anyone left, basically? Has anyone dropped out, or has everyone kept motivated?
Actually, so far, we've been lucky with this one. Nobody's dropped out. On the contrary, last couple of weeks before the new lockdown, we actually got new people in. And we were very happy to get people that didn't actually play rugby before. So we were happy that we got new to the idea of rugby, people getting interested, even though it was obvious that we were getting into the lockdown procedure. We've been trying to keep the motivation by doing theoretical training over Zoom and Messenger and all sorts. We give them all sorts of material to read, especially to the new ones. So far, it's been good. And we've been giving out to the members of the teams certain little programs, like individual ones, to basically improve on their skills. We all sort of knew that where everybody had a slight problem or maybe they needed some improvement or something. So we took it from there and then trying to improve individually. Hopefully this whole thing with the COVID will be over soon, and then we'll get them back. But it will show there and then.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And in terms of the general situation over there, are you guys are you locked down level 5, level 6, level 7?
Oh yes. We actually locked down for the last month or so again, which was a little bit of a bummer. Because we actually had, I'm not at liberty to say which national team, 15s and 7s, picked Greece to come over due to the climate and the awesome people that Greece has in the Rugby Federation.
Really?
Approximately 75 people, including medical staff, were going to come over to do their pre-season training. Unfortunately, we hit a level 5 and everything locked down. And I'm not going to say much. They went to another country that I'm actually very happy about that they went to. I'll give you a little bit of a hint. It's the accent that I have. So anyway, they really, really enjoyed it, which is really, really great.
Yeah, hopefully next year.
Yeah, hopefully, Mac. Hopefully, we get to see people in 3D form again soon. Like, we had level 5 here, but we've no idea what level 5 is. Like we know level 1 is holding hands with someone. Level 2 is kissing. We had no idea what level 5 was.
Base 2.
So Rich, over in Gibraltar, again, another place I couldn't find on a map before I met you. How have you been getting on? Because we spoke a while ago now, actually, about how you were keeping everyone engaged. How is that going for you over there?
It's, I mean, if you'd asked me that question just over a week ago, I'd have said things were hunky-dory, but we hit a spike just because of all the Christmas parties people are not supposed to be having. So we've now gone right up into a higher level of lockdown than we were, which was a pretty relaxed one not so long ago. We got to the stage where we were playing our league was playing 10s, so zero contact 10s, and then we were actually informed because of the way Jib was heading. We were actually given permission to go into full contact, and that would have basically brought us back to the 15s normal playing. But like I said, this thing kicked off, so we're now spiking again. So obviously all sporting competition was stopped as of last Monday. So we're back to square one, back to basically no gyms. Yes, you can go out to train individually, but it was a very structured return to rugby, which was very, very good. So we had these wonderful bubbles that we keep having all over the shop happening, and like I said, it was extremely structured. Our football season kicked off as well, basketball, everything else kicked off, and then now we've gone back to, thanks to Christmas, we've gone back down to not doing much. But apart from that, we've one of the highlights we've had is we've got over 200 kids in our rugby. In our age grade rugby. If you'd asked me that question 3 or 4 years ago, I would have told you we'd be lucky to get 10, 15 kids. So 200 is just bloody awesome.
Amazing.
It's a product of having a home for rugby. We never had one. Now there is a purpose-built stadium, and clearly that has had a very positive impact on the game here, because people, I mean, not this year because of what's happening, but quite a few people were attending games, the league games, the cup games, and especially the national team games where you get a sellout. So these things are not happening this year, and they're not happening this year anywhere in the world. So we have to ride with it. But as Brendan said, we're doing an awful lot behind the scenes in terms of restructuring, in terms of making sure that when we hit full contact, full blown rugby, we hit it. We hit the ground running. So you make do with what you can, don't you? Really?
No, absolutely. It's Christmas is kind of bringing everyone together again, unfortunately, and certainly I'm sure it's the same everywhere. Christmas parties start and people think it's January again, and start licking strangers, and all these things happen. So, but Penny has joined us, possibly doing push-ups for charity or something crazy, and that's why she was late. Unfortunately, we're clashing, which it's really embarrassing.
Where is it? Here. I can't even see where it is. It's here. Yeah.
Showing up to a party and you're wearing the same outfit. It's embarrassing. But how are you getting on? How is December? How is Christmas treating you?
You know what? I'm super busy. That's what I was saying to Elena and Yanni. I mean, if we didn't have to go through lockdown, honestly, I have no free time at all. I mean, it's crazy. Besides work, that part of the reality nowadays is that a lot of jobs have been affected by COVID, and it's not a very positive thing, but I'm very lucky. I'm working from home. I'm a business trainer for actually a French company that operates in Greece, and actually it's very, very good. I'm very lucky. So, I mean, work is crazy. The project is growing, so more and more, energy needs to be there, all the time. And also, I was accepted, and I got a course at a Greek university, and I'm studying sports management. So I can guarantee I have to study at least one course every week, at least, and also manage to pass the exam successfully. Otherwise, that's it. So I'm super busy, and I have 7 more courses till the 18th of January. And you cannot see my forehead sweating right now because of the hat, but I can tell you it's super busy. Actually, for a few days, I wasn't even answering calls, like nothing. It was always muted, and I was trying to catch up. And at the same time, there is a lot of effort behind a rugby team nowadays. I think behind every team nowadays, because we all have to go the extra mile. We all have to implement the real values of the sport and find a different way to actually bring them to life. Like with Eleni and Yanni, there are a lot of, let's just say, online sessions, analyzing games, explaining positions, etc., etc. But the hardest part is not to actually keep the interest for those players that played before, but to actually maintain the interest to the ones that joined just a few weeks ago or a few days before the beginning of the lockdown. This is, I think, the real challenge. I don't know what our other, great participants here would like to say about that, but for what we saw at that point is that this is where the biggest challenge is. And, when you want to explain a position, when you want to explain something about a specific drill, you cannot really do it physically. You need to find videos or, word explanation to describe the tension and what that person should expect. But is it the same? Is it the same?
It's not the same, but all we do here, regardless of what position you're going to jump into the team in, we send a highlight reel of Brian O'Driscoll. That's all we do. So you navigate it yourself from there. That's pretty much it, That's just, and we have a big thing at Christmas where we pray to Brian and everything. So it's a normal thing here. But we're kind of rolling merrily forward through part 6 here. So kind of quickly, guys, around the room again, we're going into 2021. Basically, we've no idea what's going to happen. But what are your expectations in terms of how you're going to progress from our chat earlier on in this year to now, to kind of, we're sitting here this time next year with Joe going crazy in the background trying to get this moving. What are your plans for 2021, Brendan? Where do you see your part of the world going?
Yeah, well, over here in Germany with Rheinland-Pfalz Rugby, this next year gives us that little bit more time to really, lay the foundations of our representative sides for men, women, youth, and get all of the right people in place and get more volunteers out, grow the youth program here in Germany, and yeah, just keep inspiring new people to pick up a rugby ball and get involved and just grow that community and hopefully establish new partnerships along the way, and that's it really. Just trying to keep positive and, the likes of a local team that I actually play for, the Honey Badgers, one of the teams in Rheinland-Pfalz. They did a charity calendar, so they've done. It's quite good. Some good-looking lads on there. I'm unfortunately not on there this year. They didn't want me there, so no, I'm only joking.
Backup December is what I heard. You were the backup for December, just in case. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a fantastic place here in Germany for rugby. It's really good. It's up and coming, and there's watch this space in the next few years, definitely.
Oh, it's great to see the grassroots keeping positive. And over in Gibraltar, Rich, where do you see, what plans? Obviously, you've got plans, but what have you got in place for the next kind of 12 months?
Well, there's we're doing an increasing amount of work with World Rugby so that we can get official accreditation, and that's looking an awful lot better than it did 12 months ago. So which is good. So hopefully we'll be able to join our brothers and sisters in competitive games in under the umbrella of Rugby Europe and World Rugby over the next few years, which we're very much looking forward to. Two things that we're looking to work on is a continuation of the women's game. We have now managed to raise 2 teams so they can compete against each other every so often, and basically chop and change in order to keep it fresh. And obviously continue increasing the level of participation at Grassroots. As far as we're concerned, that is our future, the future of rugby. That is, without the kids, there's no future. So, that's why we're investing time and effort into building our game and our rugby community here in Gibraltar.
Absolutely. And Yanni, Lainey, and Penny, out there where you are, what are your thoughts and plans and expectations going into 2021?
Well, basically,
it's simple. It's simple for us. First, Joe said he's coming over for holiday in Greece, so we're going to get him drunk. Product placement. We picked up some really bad habits.
My bags are already packed here, so I'm just waiting. Yeah.
We'll carry on with the plan that we had this year, and everything got postponed. So basically, we're hoping to carry this one out. Bring all the people that we had arranged to bring over and carry on with the cooperation so that we can get out of our borders as well and get some experience in. That's mainly it.
Yeah, well, we've got a very good backbone. Sorry, I know. We've got a very good backbone. For all who knew that we were supposed to have a tournament for Ancient Olympia this year at the beginning of the Olympic Games. Unfortunately, due to the first run of COVID, that was cancelled. It was beautiful. It was exactly the way I imagined, not. But we've got a great backbone. We've got Gira Deshvili up in the north. We have the team in the south with Penny, Khara, Hippokrati. Try and just unite everyone and go forward.
And don't forget, a lot of training. We're trying to get everybody to participate in as many seminars as they can, getting level 1s for coaching, for officials, for refereeing, because we need a solid foundation. That's how we see it. And then we're just going to carry on arguing between each other, because she supports South Africa and I support England, so there's going to be trouble in the area.
Wow. Well, what a house. What a house. Well, actually, as we finish up on part 6, first of all, it's great to see everybody. But secondly, could I get you to put your socials for your businesses and your if you want to put your personals up there, put it in the comments so people can follow and keep that grassroots moving and get that awareness growing, because, I think we're going to go to part 6 of the biography of Christmas. But this group here, you guys are absolutely brilliant. The ideas you've come up with, the way you're moving, staying positive, it's infectious. You know what I mean? I can't get this hat off because I bought it and I stole it from one of my children. But I would take it off and salute you all if I could, but I can't. So
and Kingo, you know what? Also, the fact that you're bringing everybody together and we're actually sharing ideas. We obviously have the same goals: maintain what we already have, focus on children, women's growth, and of course, men's playing. I mean, we are all on the same page. So we all face the same challenges. We all face the same opportunities. So let's just focus on the opportunities out there, take advantage of the time we have, and make things happen from our own couch. I think we can still do a lot of things out there. They're already
absolutely, and vote Penny 2021. So guys, have a great Christmas. We'll be talking to you in 2021. Stay safe, stay happy, stay positive. We are going to go to part 6 of the history of Christmas, and we'll be back with a few reprobates after this.
I wanted to quickly give you a rundown of, I think, my 10 favourite little mini bits of trivia you can have about Christmas. So little tiny trivia tidbits you can share at the Christmas dinner table with whoever you can see this year. Just little nice nuggets like this one. Okay, the most common Christmas dinner in Japan, KFC. That's what they have. They don't have turkeys really in Japan. And so 1970s American businessmen visiting Japan wanted their Christmas turkey dinner, couldn't find it. And so KFC it was. And now, ever since then, KFC is huge at Christmas. You pre-order your KFC Christmas buckets in Japan. First song in space, Jingle Bells, 1965, I believe it is, and they've smuggled on board a harmonica and some jingle bells, pretended they could see Santa Claus as a spacecraft, going, NASA, we can see this red spacecraft with lots of smaller reindeer-like spacecraft leading it in front of it. Oh, yes, and we can hear a song, and they sang Jingle Bells. First song in space as part of a prank. Okay, here's what are these three things got in common? Sleigh Ride, the song, Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow, and the Christmas song, you know, chestnuts roasting on open fire. What have they got in common? All written in Hollywood, all written in the mid-1940s, all written in Hollywood heat waves, in the height of summer, all written to cool down those artists who were there thinking, you know, we are roasting in the open sun. How do we cool down? Let's write a song about Christmas. And all three, of course, became big hits. And as you now know, really, they filmed John Lewis Christmas adverts in the middle of the summer. Let's have another one. The first Captain Hook in Peter Pan was played by Daphne du Maurier's dad. You know the author Daphne du Maurier? She wrote Rebecca and Jamaica Inn. And yeah, her dad was actually the first Captain Hook, and was so terrifying because people were bringing their children to what they thought was a children's show. But the first Peter Pan, he was terrifying. Children fainted, had to be carried out of that one. The first Christmas card features a child drinking booze. So there you go, 1843, since you are. Sir Henry Cole commissioned it, and the artist drew Sir Henry Cole and his family, including a child have a sneaky little drink in there. Mince pies were banned by the Puritans. It used to be called Christmas pies, actually, but then they were banned and they became smaller and became the mince pies we have today. I think smaller because you can quickly scoff them in your mouth before the police arrive and arrest you for eating an illegal mince pie. We've also got St. Nicholas. Okay, let's tell you another legend of St. Nicholas. He was, in theory, the first in history to use an automatic door. So legend has it. Apparently he was such a holy person that when he went to visit Jerusalem and he went to the chapel of the Last Supper, because he was such a holy person, the doors flung open to greet him. The first time we ever have in writing anyone using anything approaching an automatic door. And as you know, when you approach an automatic door, magical things happen. Last couple of facts for you. King Herod had a wife called Doris. That's one of my favourite Christmas facts. King Herod and his wife Doris. He had several wives, actually, including one called Cleopatra. But Doris, I mean, that makes him seem a lot less scary, doesn't it, King Herod? Your final Christmas fact. Little Donkey, not as old as people think. 1959, that was written by a Geordie folk singer, Eric Boswell. And he was far prouder of his other animal-based songs. Forget Little Donkey. He was far, far prouder of his other funny animal songs. I've Got a Little Whippet. So there you go. You can find it on YouTube today. While you're online, you can also find a copy of my book, Hark, The Biography of Christmas. And whether you grab that or don't, I wish you a very merry one. This has been Paul Carenza signing off. Bar humbug can go in the bin.
Wow. Joe, have you unmuted me? Q. The people of the world need to hear my manifesto. I was basically talking about KFC for Christmas dinner. Food's so bad, they had to take the word chicken out of the name of their place. But anyway, let's move on. We've come to the AA portion of our meeting, of our day, and I'm bringing in three reprobates. I don't know what order we're bringing them in, Joe, so I'm going to just say the names on my sheet, and they may or may not be the people who will arrive on the screen. So let's start from the top. Sorry, and Joe, could you just kick Andy out of the private chat there, please? He's being abusive. So let's start. We're going up north. We're getting in the car and going about 90 minutes up the road, and we're going to bring in the Ulster contingent. So up first, we have the great and powerful Mr. Nigel Quigley, maybe. We do indeed. Cheers to you, sir. How are you?
Cheers, Paul.
Oh, would you look at this? Now we've got more of you. So our second attendee to this AA meeting, I hope, is Mr. Ian Gilbert. It is. I love it when it comes together. Would you look at that?
How you doing?
So
great for yourself. I'm fine, mate. Good to see you.
And we have one more. One more, and then I'm going to let the guys talk. Mr. Philip Caldwell. Dewey. Yes, we do.
Hey guys, you well?
I use his official name as if I was a judge there, and he was done for indecent exposure, you know. Firstly,
Nobody's
cheers,
working tomorrow
lads.
then. Yay.
We're all in unison there.
Christmas started 3 hours ago, lads. Yeah, this laptop is thrown out the window afterwards. But no, this is a cross-border discussion here we've got going on. And I'm going to throw my notes away here. So given it doesn't matter, you know. It's part 6.5. You know, it's like lockdown level 5. No one knows what it is. But if we talk about where we are, great white jersey. It's been an interesting kind of end to last season and into this season. You know, we kind of a big finish pre-lockdown level 1, I believe it was, and then that long rest, and it took a while to get the gears moving again. We'll talk about Cooney in a second, and then they started to get moving again. So, like, Mr. Night King, what were your thoughts finishing up last year and getting into this year? What were you thinking?
We blipped out the end of last season and in the final, Leinster. We absolutely did. We came back again into the league, I think, very strong. We've not lost a game in the league. What I did like, though, and this is something I've been arguing with other Ulster fans, is the rotation that Dan has brought into the team. He constantly rotates the team, exposes players to first team play. So if you get me, and we can talk about Europe and the rest in a second, there's the top performance of Ulster and the bottom performance of Ulster. I think this is what's happening. Yeah, I think the bar is being raised in general.
He's managed to do that with harmony in the team as well, I think. He's managed to do exactly what you've said there with harmony. You're not seeing disgruntled players. You're actually
maybe
seeing
a bit of identity, Philly. Maybe create a bit of identity again, which I think was missing in Ulster for a while. Even though we've got a lot of import players from Leinster, etc., I think he's actually created a team. But I do think that despite I'll let Keego lead this and bring it in, but in the league, there's no doubt Ulster have performed well. I mean, we're top of the league at the minute with the one game played more than Leinster. Of course, I understand that, but we've done well, and he's exposed so many players to first team rugby that can't be anything but good for what I would call the baseline of the team. I'm bringing the baseline up.
100%. I think that takes Leroy D. I think it takes balls to do that, because you know there are a lot of coaches who are stuck in the ways is the wrong way to phrase it, but you get what I'm saying, and they think that their method is going to be correct, whereas there's been a very ego-free way of running this team, which is great. And I saw that coming down here. I saw that starting when they cleaned out the boardroom. I can't. Time has lost all meaning here, but maybe that was nearly 2 years ago now, maybe a bit more. That was the start of the reset. You could see the team believing more, and again, the consistency was the issue. But they had promoted from the academy this year.
I think we have to remember as well, Keego, when that happened, they also cleaned out in one go 16 players. And just before that Christmas, they cleaned out 5 more. That was 21 players taken out of the squad. That's going to hurt anything. So I think what they've done is pretty good. There's a lot of disappointment around over recent weeks, but I think overall what they've done is pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely brilliant. And before we go any further, so there's comments coming up on the screen, but we've got to go to yourself, Philly. We've got to get the news out, the details out of your fundraiser, especially in time for Christmas and things like that. So let's spend a bit of time talking to you about that. Tell us the story behind that.
Well, it was a random July afternoon. As you know, everybody was caught up with the lockdown that we were all going to, and looking for a little bit of an outlet to be able to get out and express themselves playing a bit of rugby. So I've played contact rugby for over 30 years at various grades at various clubs, and I was asked down by an old rugby coach to play a tag rugby game, which, as you know, is non-contact. And basically, the game was not even 2 minutes old. I was the last person to be thrown the tags, ran out onto the pitch, and within 2 minutes received the ball, made a couple of little jigs, and managed to score a try, but then collided with the fence straight after it. So
it caused temporary paralysis. I was paralyzed from the chest down, which was a huge shock. I knew instantly, you know, there was a gash to my head, but I knew instantly that this wasn't good. This was, you know, just within seconds. So I was calling out, as luck would have it. There was a team of surgeons were playing on the pitch opposite. So I got unbelievable care straight off the bat, rushed straight to the #1 spinal hospital in Ireland, the Mater, and was put on a heavy dose of steroids to try and stop a bleed which had come into my spinal cord, which was causing this temporary paralysis. So it was a bit of a whirlwind then. 2 months in a bed, not being able to move at all, slowly getting things to come back. And here I am now, 5 months down the line, now able to walk again, albeit a little bit hindered. I'm starting to get movement back in my shoulders and stuff like that. So it's an ongoing struggle that's going to take 18 to 2 years. There's small little bits coming back week in, just very, very small gains. I was a mate there how I'm able to wash under my left armpit, and I've got to a point where I'm very close to getting in under my, you know, just small daily things that you would take for granted. 2 months ago, squeezing toothpaste from a toothpaste holder, just very, very small things. The story of the year for me has been the story of the rugby community, who've really got behind me. You know, I've had unbelievable messages from Munster Rugby, Connacht Rugby, Ulster Rugby. I've played rugby in Australia and New Zealand. I've had lads come in and row behind it to the point of where there was a trust set up, the Philip Caldwell Trust. So the guys had an unbelievable initiative. At the start, I wasn't really able to engage with it. You know, there was a lot going on between, a lot to sort of take on. But as time has gone on, I've got to see how much work has been done behind the scenes. So they had an unbelievable initiative, which was Fill the Aviva for Philly. So basically it was buying virtual tickets to a virtual match, the Ireland versus Scotland game. But the trust itself has sort of grown legs. You know, I now look at it as somebody who was stuck in that bed and couldn't move and thinking this could happen to any of us. You know what I mean? It was me jogging out one night playing a tag game, and when I get beyond the point, eventually you have to say enough is enough. You know, I'm gonna go as hard as I can go for 18 months to get as much back as I can, but then you have to sort of accept where you are. But for me, the amount that the rugby community has got behind and the funds that have been raised, I'm also going to be able to help the next person that's in a similar situation to me. So I'm going to be able to be at the end of that bed saying, listen, this is where you're at, this is what you've been told, this is what we're going to look to do. So we've partnered up with the Irish Rugby Charitable Trust as well. So once I'm going to do, you know, various modifications to help me through my thing, as most of which are attainable. The big one for me, for example, at the moment would be getting my independence back with driving. Driving is very difficult. I've had various lessons and stuff like that about that. So it's been a whirlwind, but it's weird the time that it's happened, because whilst what I went through was horrific and is still very challenging, I can also relate to what everybody else is going through in this COVID, because everybody's been sort of locked away, not able to see their loved ones and stuff like that. So, and the outpour that I've got from the group has really spurred me on. Like I've reframed this as the biggest challenge of my life. You know, the biggest rugby team I'm ever trying to make. All the sessions that I'm doing and stuff like that. But it's realizing that other people are struggling as well, and through words of encouragement, through words of wisdom which I've got from certain psychologists. I'm working with a peak performance guy now at the moment, and try and give a little bit back as well, you know?
Well,
if I could just step in there, Keego, Flipper, that says a hell of a lot about you, mate, and well done to you for that. Seriously,
Thanks,
mate.
It means a lot.
Hats off to you, mate. That is absolutely superb. And by the way, that's what rugby's about. It's not just about the game. That's what rugby's about. Phil,
one last point. I'll give you a small point just to tell you how good the rugby community is. I played rugby in Australia for 2 clubs. I played for one club called UWA 8.5 years ago. And the head of that organisation went back into the historian. He went back and he found out the matches that I played in, put them onto a thumb drive, neaten them down, and then sent that to me to say, on a tough day, here's us thinking of you, what it was like playing in Australia. And that's something I haven't watched. I don't know when I'm going to need that little pick me up, but that's, to me, that just says everything about what the rugby community is about. I'm wearing a hat there tonight, which was sponsored by the Irish rugby players, and it's called Your Feelings. So to help people with mental health issues that are, I know it's a big part that there's a brotherhood within our game that we're very, very lucky to have. I always say, listen, football is a great sport, but you physically put your body on the line for the 14 lads when you run out onto that pitch, and there's a camaraderie that just comes with that keeps you bonded for years, if not decades, beyond when you play with each other.
Oh no, 100%. And look, the only way we can salute you is in an Irish way with some sort of weird alcoholic beverage. I salute your Leroy D, your tenacity, and your strength. Fair play to you, and happy Christmas.
Well, it's called a share bottle, but no.
So we go over to Madrid and kind of looking in from out. I guess is the way. Ian, you're there probably in the sun, being smug because it was raining here all day for the last 7 years. When you look over here and you see you've got the orange jersey on, but the white jersey, and you see the journey that team's been on, as Nigel was talking about over the last little while, how do you see it from out there? Because we get kind of bombarded on social media, which can be toxic. How do you read the goings on over here?
Well, first, I'd like to say that one of the advantages of being away is that I follow the 4 provinces without any problem whatsoever. I have no problems with any of them. I'm a big fan of Ulster, probably because I can't watch them. I had tickets to watch the Toulouse match in a hotel booked and everything, and then it was cancelled. I'm very positive about the team. I like the coach. I like the way we won every match in October and November. I suppose it was only against Scottish, Welsh and Italian teams. And then we lost to Toulouse and Gloucester, which was very up. But Nigel's right. The coach has been moving the team around a lot, rotating the team, and we're getting academy players coming in who we want to see, and other ones we haven't seen yet, like Isu Chukwu.
Glad you tried that.
and Sexton, of course.
Another sip of wine there.
Eh?
No, I was just saying, have another sip of wine and try that name again.
No, I was reading it. Actually, I had it written down.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
How professional. We're not used to that kind of behavior here, really. We're not used to that kind of behavior. But no, it is great because it's important that we have our provinces firing. When you kind of see our brothers and sisters out to the west who are kind of reaching down into the guts and kind of pulling these results out, and even really putting up a great scrap. And when you look at the overall picture of the big green jersey and the kind of tough maybe 12 months that jersey has gone through, what do you guys think we need to do in terms of Europe, in terms of the Pro 14, which from February it becomes the Pro 16? We all got that email today. Hit it, yeah, absolutely.
Right, okay, we need to keep doing what we were doing. People need to be realistic here. I said we brought the bottom bar up, the top end maybe. We were minus 6 or 7 players against the Toulouse team that sent Ontomac to play centre, and they made no secret of it. They wanted all their champagne players on the pitch to try and win that. We lost by a try score, okay? The Gloucester game was a bizarre one for me. Yes, we made some mistakes. We didn't see it out. I do think, I'm going to say it, I thought the ref was unusual in some of his decisions, and some of them may or may not have cost us the game. It was a cocktail of woes that happens, I suppose, occasionally. We're not on the wrong path. I think we're on the right path. I think we have to be realistic that the growth's going to come from within. It's not going to come from outside. I think the finances of COVID tell us that. It's got to come from within. It's coming from within, and I think all the provinces are doing that, by the way. We're all producing talent. It's actually, I put a question up for Mr. Van Zyl earlier on, where I was thinking, well, what are we going to do with all this talent now? Because it used to be Leinster farming their talent out to other provinces, but they're all producing talent now. What do we do with that?
Yeah.
You know,
No,
so
and I think Ulster did great in terms of who Ulster brought in. They've done great business in terms of the characters they've placed into that team. You look at Madigan coming back as well. Madigan is a warrior, and he got
fantastic
shafted
signing.
over here.
Absolutely, it turned out to be a fantastic signing. So, if I'm honest, I would say keep doing what they're doing. Fans need to be a little patient, and frankly, some ex-pundits, if I'm honest, which I'm disappointed at, but we'll leave that there. We're doing the right thing. We're bringing the bomb bar up. If we keep that coming up, in a year or two, it will be there. That's what Leinster did. Let's be honest. I think Ulster are doing the same thing.
No, that's
the same way Leinster fans have to be patient.
That's it. Carrick Fergus wasn't built in a day, as they say.
Correct.
Philly,
by the way, absolutely love that.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. But Philly, what do you reckon yourself? Like, are you going in there with Nigel? Is there a are you seeing something different that needs to happen, or do we just cross our fingers and hope it continues as is?
I think we have a unique opportunity now to really get it right for the next World Cup cycle. You know what I mean? I'll be honest with you. I think the setup that's been put together within Leinster, it can only keep breeding top quality talent that is going to always compete at the moment anyway in the Pro 14 and going to be at the top table of European rugby. But we're going to miss a trick here, because if you remember going into the last World Cup that was in France, we made changes. We got rid of a Victor Costello too late, didn't give a Jamie Eastlip a chance. Caelan Doris has to have 25 caps under his belt. These lads need to be seasoned veterans, and we need to bed in. I would also say, if we're going with Ian Henderson, he needs 15, 20 caps of a go at it. And then if he's not up to the mustard, you can bring in a couple of old tried test heads. Guys need to know, similar to in Leinster, they need to know what the core players are and basically need to build from them. And the last thing I think we need to do is find out what is the story at 10. You know, are we happy that Sexton plays? Because I think he's able to do it. He's looking to go from another code. I think he's modeling himself a little bit on NFL's Tom Brady, and is basically saying, I am quite happy to play 8 to 10 games a season. Just let me play the top marquee game per season. I'll be ready for them. And if that's the case, I get one more crack at a World Cup. So
I don't think that's the answer, though.
No,
but I tell you what, lads,
we need to do exactly what I've said. Blood the 20 caps to somebody.
We could talk about Sexton and everything for 100 years, but Joe is talking in caps here. So Ian, out with yourself going into Christmas. What do you want to see in 2021 from the provinces and up into the green jersey? And guys in the private chat, stop being so abusive, please.
Ian.
I just want to see the provinces continue to improve as they are doing. I think we should take into account the player pools. The country with the most federated players in the world is England. You know, they have a tremendous selection of players to choose from, and they even choose people from other countries, but like that we do ourselves. But I think we should be quite happy with the way we're going, not just with Leinster, but the other provinces.
Yeah.
For me, fewer box kicks, more offloads.
Put that in a t-shirt for Christmas, guys. It's absolutely beautiful to see your faces. You've made my Christmas Eve, and I think Joe is gonna come in. I believe. Joe, what's the plan for the rest of the show? You've been talking in caps.
I just want to wish everybody Merry Christmas, guys, and Merry Christmas to you three. Brilliant, beyond
all the best, Philly.
Hey guys, how you doing? Great chat. It was just one of those chats that can go on. Philly, absolutely an inspirational guy, mate. And well done, and I know that we're going to get you back on in 2021 to follow your journey through. So I know it's short and sharp. Ian Gilt, so look after yourself, mate. Have a great Christmas. Keep doing what you're doing. It's just unbelievable how far you've got after such a thing, Philly. So well done, mate, and we'll look forward to you. Ian Gilbert, I am so glad we got you on as one of our Ulster reps. out there in Madrid. He's absolutely supports every single show I have done for 3.5 years. And it's people like yourself, mate. And I'm so glad that you agreed to come on. It's a real pleasure. And I can't thank you enough, Ian, for all the support that you do, mate. In our mini Ulster group, Nigel will tell you, he's our lead. People like you and great behind the scenes who are just doing stuff, supporting day in, day out. So thank you to you both. I'll drop you both out now, lads. I wish you both a Nulachana Rich. Have a very, very happy Christmas, and we'll look forward to seeing Philly Caldwell and Ian Gilbert in 2021. Take care, lads, and thanks really for taking your time. Here we go. So we are now at that stage of the night where it is finale time. I'm just going to take one. I've stopped looking at WhatsApp groups. I've stopped looking at the private chat, and I've stopped looking at it all. But one thing I did pick up on the private chat tonight is that the Grassroots and Community group of the 6 WhatsApp groups we've had going for tonight are exchanging details. So Greece and Germany and Gibraltar, and they're going to get together and they're going to support each other. And you know what?
It's the beauty of it, Joe. It's not an Irish thing. It's a rugby thing, isn't it? It's fantastic. Beautiful.
And that's the whole thing. And on that, we're going to bring back in Zakaya. We're going to bring in Neil. Well done, mate. I'm sure that I've got everybody in that I need to get in. Who else have we got down there? Oh, we almost lost the wingnut there. Dave.
Don't feed that thing, and don't feed that thing water.
And before he does anything, I can't unmute him because he's got himself muted. So before anybody has a go at me, there we go.
Well, here, Joe. Can I hijack this?
I'm unmuting myself. It's 20 past 12 here.
Yeah, you mute yourself there, Andy, for the good of everyone.
Don't start. There you go.
Can I just hijack for 1 second, Joe? This is not on any cards, but I want to just say a really quick couple of words to say thank you to Joe. Thank you for the work you've done for another 12 months on this. You can see people tonight for the last 14 hours of this show that you have brought together. So I salute her as always. Cheers for letting me and us be a part of it, and happy Christmas to you and yours.
Absolutely. Totally back that up, Joe. You're a star, man. Well done. Hold on.
I'm not going to mute myself for the rest of it.
I love our 2-minute chats the last 60 minutes, mate. I love them. Brilliant.
Okay. Yeah, it has.
He's getting old, Terry.
We've never had a show that has gone. We've got one more thing to do. We've got great Mark Tween, who I'm going to just add into the studio as well because he sat there all alone and he's hung around and he's in isolation. So I feel part of the family. A huge thank you tonight to all the guests, to everybody who has sent all the messages. And I'm going to plug his book again. Great Paul Carenza, who took the time out to go and buy his book, or hard copy, Heart the Bible for Christmas. Because if you have any interest in Christmas at all and understanding how it all sort of ties in together, modern Christmas and the Saturnalia and Yule and back in the day, Paul Carenza is his name. Heart the Biography of Christmas. I'd like to thank everybody who has come on. I would like to just finally just go Google Soup Party, Google ohana.ie, go and do the Zero Suicide Mental Health thing, please. If you're struggling, everybody struggles at this time of year in different ways. COVID has made it even more difficult. Please.
Joe, can I do a quick plug for Zakaya? Look for Beyond the Veil videos. They're worth a watch. Anyway, carry on.
They are. In fact, Z, tomorrow, in here, put some of your links up on YouTube to stuff. Our learned professor is an absolute. She also has been doing. She does offline stuff normally, but since COVID's been doing online stuff. She's a professor, and she's working out there in where?
Sharjah, the UAE.
Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates. There we go. And she's not only a very, very learned and clever person. She is one of the most cleverest people when it comes down to knowledge of rugby across the globe, not just her favourite thrower. I'll interview her this year. And it was great doing a pilot show on Super Rugby Aotearoa. We are looking to do more stuff next year. A Southern Hemisphere show will be hosted by
2021.
in 2020, yes, sorry, 2021. We'll be looking to do that. So thank you to everybody who's been on. Thank you to all my hosts and leads this year. We have an awful lot to do in 2021, which we've announced previously, and that's going to come on. There is nothing else really much for me to say other than another kind of greets to everybody. A very Merry Christmas. Please stay safe and look after yourself. This is 3 hours and 22. I know, and we've still got people watching us, and we'll have people watching us tomorrow. And that's just crazy that you lot would want to watch us this for that amount of time. But it is. It is great. If I have forgotten, genuinely, if I have forgotten to mention anybody tonight, we got so many people behind the scenes who have helped us over the past year, and we've expanded all the shows. I've done too many to mention, so I've thanked them privately. But the likes of Greg Galway from the Ulster Show, who religiously posts after everything. So the likes of Jeff Caban from Harping on Rugby, who ran our Leinster show, and it's just he is so busy next year now that he's come down from that. We've got a new lad coming in called Nathan Johns. You'll learn more about Nathan in the not too distant future. But it's been great. We will be taking things forward as we go, and I am honoured to be able to work with people. 98% of these people I have never ever met in my life, and yet we put on a series of global shows, and we have our ups and downs, and we have our different opinions, and you know what? It bloody well works. And we were doing this long before COVID kicked in, so I think we've learned how to work with each other across the time zones, across both hemispheres, and online doing this. And I can't wait, genuinely can't wait to be able to meet up with each and all of them. So to the Night King, Nigel Quigley, thank you. To your family, highlight for this year for me was your missus doing the dinner for next day in the background, and then all the audience come in, and she came in and made a guest appearance. That was fab, mate. That absolutely blew me away. And so Merry
Christmas to you all, guys. Merry Christmas to you all.
There's been some downsides as well that we've worked our way through. Technical issues that we have no control of. Dave Wingnut has suffered the most on there we go. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes we're just absolutely out of control. Yeah. Fancy being in your own studio and you've been locked out and you have no control about it. But it's been really good, and we've got sort of lots more things to come. But I'm going to give Andy Daniel a few moments to say a few words, because he has been. We developed the concept of, it was the first spin-off show 10 months ago. And it was meant to be a monthly show, the Springbok and South Africa Rugby Roundup show, meant to be monthly. It was so successful within the first two shows. We then went to fortnightly, and we're taking it forward ever more. And I really hope I can get to South Africa next year to meet up with them too. It's the only way I'm going to get fucking gin from the start. But to have a beer, he has been a real star, and I'd leave him to say a few words on behalf of everybody of the ThreeBOD Rugby group family.
Joe, for me, obviously you approached me on Messenger and was like, I love you. You enjoyed my writing, and that was great. And I came on and we had a few shows, and I did a bit around the World Cup. But I think for rugby in South Africa, I think you recognise the diversity of it. But I don't think either of us really recognised the true diversity. And I think the one thing that I think everybody here can agree on is that we're so open to every facet of rugby. Yeah. And I love the thing that I love the most about working with yourself and the group, Joe, is that we are open to that diversity. So the visually impaired rugby, you've done wheelchair rugby, we've covered women's rugby, we've covered... And the thing is, we're not scared to approach any subject, and that's what I love about it the most, is that we will... I'm just speaking from a South African point of view with rugby. Like, we'll bring anybody on, and we know that there's an underlying current. We're not scared to approach it as a group, and I love that. And we've had some amazing shows, and we did the Stephen Kitsoff Bongi show that me and you hosted, which is special, so special. We did the women's rugby show, which is so special. We did the mental health show with Clarky and Rosie, which I'm not even going to say publicly, but you know, right? Okay. And we chatted after that. And I just love the fact that everybody on this stage that we're the sort of 8 people here and everybody else that's joined us, nobody's ever been dishonest. Everyone's just spoken about rugby, how they feel. Any subject's never been off the table. And Joe, you've always been true to yourself, my man. And that's the best thing the biggest compliment I can ever pay to anybody is that if you stay true to yourself, then we can only move forward. So thank you, Joe. Thank you to the ThreeBOD group. Keep doing what you're doing, and don't worry about what it says in the corner of how many people are watching live, because Facebook just love to screw us over. What we're actually producing, amazing rugby content, and long may it continue, my friend.
And on that, Night King, very happy Christmas to you and your family, mate. Thank you.
Guys.
Z, give us a Aotearoa happy Christmas.
Oh, yeah, just let's hope 2021 is a hell of a lot better than 2020.
Absolutely, indeed.
We're very lucky in New Zealand. Not that I'm there, but New Zealand's very lucky. Life is almost like normal. Where I live, not quite like that, but where other people live, it's a hell of a lot worse. So I just wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and make the most of it, because there are people that are in a far worse situation than we are.
Absolutely. I just want to clarify there then that when we mentioned, when Andy, you're quite right, one of the things we pride ourselves on is mainstream and non-mainstream, so everything from World Rugby and Six Nations and Northern Hemisphere leagues and cups and Southern Hemisphere leagues and cups. But the non-mainstream stuff of women's, unfortunately, is still classed as non-mainstream, whether we like it or not. That's why we promote not just women's rugby, but women's rugby and women in rugby. I think there's a fundamental difference. So that's why I think, and if we don't keep it, it is a fast-growing game, but if we don't keep it in as non-mainstream, then people are going to ignore it, because they're just, the way that women are treated in rugby is still, for a lot, is still wrong. We did discuss this recently.
Give Joy Neville the whistle more often.
You're right. But that's where World Rugby was really progressive, when they took away the women's out of the Rugby World Cup.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you've got to very quickly, you've also got to look at, if you look at the European Super Cup a couple of years ago in football, when Chelsea played Liverpool in Istanbul or whatever, they had a fully female officiating team. The game was 100 times better because nobody back chatted, everybody respected them, and they moved forward.
Because everybody was scared. No, in all seriousness.
No, but all jokes aside, it was a much better game for everybody to watch.
Is that soccer he's talking about?
Yeah, but I'm just using it as an example, quick. Right,
okay, listen, it's 3 hours 30. I'm cut it dead now. Right, so women's rugby and women in rugby, we need to progress more. We need to progress more wheelchair rugby and deaf rugby. 2021, I want to try and do some shows where we've got a sign speaker. That's another thing, because I'm limited on numbers on some of the chat in what I can take up in the studio. But we're going to work on that and try and at least cover that a little bit more, because that is important. We want to sort of be covering visually impaired. We want to be tag and touch and beach and all of the rest of them all a little bit more. So that will be an absolute, and yeah, it was an absolutely great example to bring up Andy Daniel. But there we go. Right. So Dave the Wingnut, happy Christmas to your family, mate. Thanks very much.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, even now, my wee lad is still waiting for me to do a bottle of juice. So I'm going to make tracks here and get him off to sleep here. So happy Christmas, guys, and I'll see you soon.
Dave, catch you soon.
Thank you.
Rabs, we send you our best, mate. Thanks for everything. We're glad to have the Rabs was out this year. And it just leaves me to say, on behalf of everybody at the ThreeBOD Rugby family, we wish you a very, very safe, peaceful Christmas. 2021 is going to be exactly the same, only in a different way. And I'm going to leave you. Thank you for tonight. 3.5 hours of absolute mayhem. It worked in the main. and it'll work down to the viewers and to the guests and to the hosts. I'm going to leave you with the great Mark Tween, who's going to sing us out. Tweenie from Mark Tween Music is going to sing us out with a Christmas song. Good night. Happy Christmas. EQUIV. We'll see you all in 2021. Off you go.
Thanks, Mark. Merry Christmas, mate.
There we go. We've got sound. Snow is falling all around me. Children playing, having fun. It's the season, love and understanding. Merry Christmas, everyone. Time for parties and celebration. People dancing all night long. Time for presents and exchanging kisses. Time for singing Christmas songs. We're gonna have a party tonight. I'm gonna find that girl underneath the mistletoe. I'll kiss that candlelight. Room is shaking, records playing, all the old songs we love to hear. But how I wish that every day was Christmas. What a nice way to spend the year. We're gonna have a party tonight. I'm gonna find that girl underneath the mistletoe. We'll kiss that candlelight. Snow is falling all around me. Children playing, having fun. It's the season, love and understanding. Merry Christmas, everyone. Ladies and gents, I want to say thank you very much to Joe for having me involved. It's been fantastic joining you guys. I wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, and I hope 2021 is better for all of us. But yeah, thanks for getting me involved, and I hope to see you all in the new year. Snow is falling all around me. Children playing, having fun. It's the season, love and understanding. Merry Christmas, everyone. Oh, Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thanks, guys. Good night. Happy Christmas. Take care of yourselves. Bye.